Greetings. Good evening. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Fabulous. Oh my gosh. It's probably because I've done a show 2 weeks ago that it's like, is it really the first Tuesday of the month? And yes, it is. Welcome, everybody. Greetings and welcome to Real Talk with Simply Deez on Tuesday, the 1st of February. As always, and I know I say it, but you know I mean it, I have got some absolutely awesome guests in the, I say studio, but we're all in our homes. But it's our studios for now, right? It's our studios for now. And yeah, I am super excited. Jacquie, I need you to sit tight. Because I want to welcome this. You're going to like this, David, Johny, young man. I want to welcome this young man who has literally, I think we only met last year, didn't we?
That's right.
Johny, we only met last year.
Probably
and
October,
I feel like
September,
I've known
October.
you forever.
Yes.
That's in a good way. Don't get me
Indeed.
wrong. That is in a
Indeed.
good way.
Indeed.
So what I always say to everybody out there, I just got to remind you, you do know we are live, don't you?
Yeah.
We're streaming live. We are streaming live on Facebook. We are also on YouTube also as well. So that's Simply Deez Events, guys. Please follow, like, subscribe, all of that. You will always find in every show that we do that there is so much information, so many people sharing hope, inspiration, and just that knowledge that it may not help you right now, but it may certainly help somebody that you know. So welcome. I'm going to call you Johny because that's what I always call you. Is that okay?
Please, yes. I prefer to be called as Johny. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay. I don't even know where to start. So you're used to us just having a normal little chat, and today is no different. But I want to delve a little bit more. I want the masses out there to know about you, to know about the work that you do, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I say peel back, Johny, you're going to say, okay, no. I'm talking way back when you were born. That's how far back I want to go.
Okay. All right.
That's how far back I need to go. Tell us like where you were born, siblings, and just give us a bit of background before we get to where you are now, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. I was born in the foothills of Himalayas in a place called Shimla, which used to be the summer capital of the British Raj, the British Empire in India. And because India would get hot for the British people, so they would kind of drive up the hill during the summer, and hence it was called a summer capital. It's a beautiful town, a lot of British architecture there, and we would always have a white Christmas and a snowfall there around December and January time. And even this year, it's been all white there until last week. And here we are missing the snow in the UK. Anyway, after that, after my birth, I was moved. My parents got a transfer in a state called Punjab, which is a neighboring state to where this summer capital town was. And I spent nearly 20 years of my life in that region. And I did my college, up to my graduation, all my studies there. And then I moved to down south of India for a couple of years to do my paramedic training. And then I went back up north of India. And then I was working with an organization called YMCA, which is very different to the way YMCA operates here in the UK. In India, the YMCA had two sides. One was very institutional side of it, involved working with gym and swim kind of in-house indoor facilities
Johny,
for the club members.
I'm going to stop you. We're assuming that the masses out there know what YMCA stands for.
Young Men's Christian Association. Yeah. So, yeah, I would assume that many people know because the famous YMCA song, YMCA. So, yeah, so I worked with that, but my interest was more in people, in the communities. So I worked on the other side of the YMCA, which was more about community development, and hence my uh, postings in the YMCA. My deployment was in different parts of India, which involved from south to east to central part and then to northwest of India. So it gave me a very good and rich breadth of exposure to the kinds of issues that people are wrestling with. And it provided me golden opportunities to work with and alongside people. And as I was progressing in my thinking, in 2001, um, I got called to come to the UK. Yeah. And that was purely because of a connection that I was involved in the western part of India, where there was lots of extremist narratives were being put into action against certain minority communities by some fractions within the majority communities. And it is through that work I got noticed and I got invited to come and develop some work here in Luton as well. So I think that's a very short and potted history.
Wow. So when you came over here, were you married, not married?
I was married. I was married and I had a 6 months old, very cute little baby girl.
So I'm just asking, you can tell me, D, stop, I ain't answering that. I'm just imagining. So you're in India, life's okay, pretty okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're married and everything's fine. And then, as you said, you get this calling. Now, I'm wondering whether I would uproot myself to, had you been to the UK before?
No, I had never ever even thought of going to work abroad. YMCA is an international and global organization, so I had lots of international exposure. I was taken for international conferences for various things. In those days, I was quite a keen musician as well, so I would sometimes write my own poetry and compose a little bit here and there, and do some acting as well. Being young, you want to try out different things in life.
Yes.
Um, but they were all issue based, focused on highlighting some of the problems in our society. So, hence, I was kind of called in for bringing the creative inputs and in the form of my artistic presentations, or rather, create some artistic presentations on the spot while the 5 day conference is going on. I would observe in a day and would be expected to bring out something in the morning, an artistic expression of what were the issues that were talked about the day before. So, in that sense, yes, I was exposed internationally, but I had never thought of going abroad to work. My father was paralyzed, partially paralyzed. He had a stroke, which had resulted into his one side being paralyzed, and I was the prime carer for him. In India, we do not have likes of NHS, um, so you are kind of family is at the helm of caring for anybody like that, and I was the prime carer. He would rely on me a lot in terms of taking his medicine or eating food, disciplining him for doing exercises and things like that. So I was in no position to ever think of leaving him. But then there were certain professional developments that took place, which kind of almost, in one sense, inspired me. But I would not hesitate in saying that it forced me as well to look elsewhere for work prospects. And that is when I started to look around. Somehow, in the church that I used to attend in India, they used to have a magazine. And in that magazine, the first time I heard the name of Luton and this program called Grassroots, where I'm based currently, and I saw this two-line job advert as a faith-based community development worker, and I had never heard of any job of like that. So I just thought I'll drop in a line to inquire about it. Sounds very interesting, and rest is history. In about a month's time after I dropped my initial email, In a month's time, I was here in the UK, invited for an interview over 10 days.
You didn't have Zoom then, I take it.
No, telephone calls. You had to book your ISD calls, they used to be called international calls. You had to
Yeah,
book
yeah.
via telephone exchange. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I call and then you're like, okay, let
Yeah.
me
So I
see.
came here for about, and during those 10 days, I was vetted and I was thoroughly checked and assessed. Probably more so not in the formal interviews, but um, otherwise, probably they wanted to look at me as a person, how I sit, how I eat, what I do, how I react to different things, just to be sure that they are inviting the right person. And for me to be able to see the town, to meet with people, and to have a feel of the kind of work that I might be involved in, and then make a decision both ways, whether it's the right match or not. And I think towards the end of my 10th day exposure into Luton, I was beginning to say that perhaps this is too sensitive an area for me to work in, because I have had no experience. I was still considering myself to be youngish at that time. I was 31 years, 31 or 32 years old at that time when I was considering to come here. So yeah, I still thought this required a bit more experience and more in-depth knowledge and expertise. But then they said no. They had three other candidates as well, by the way. So they kind of chose me, and they said, no, we want you. You have to decide now. You have to say yes or no. So I then went back home, and I discussed with my dad, um, whom I considered at that stage in life was quite a significant factor in my life and good mentor. And he said to me, son, whether you care for me or you don't care for me, I am likely to go in a few months' time anyway. We all knew that, he knew that. And he said, this is a golden opportunity for you. It's something like um, which suits your credentials, which suits your talents, your gifts, your skills. I wouldn't want you to miss on this. Please go. And he kind of forced me and insisted me and took promise that I will. I really didn't want to come, but then when he said to me in such an insisting way, I did it. And I ensured that ever since my first day arrival, in those days video cameras were not very common, so I borrowed a video camera, a big camcorder from a friend here locally in Luton, and I recorded every day something or the other, and I sent him a big videotapes from here so that he can see me, what am I doing and how am I here with my family. Yeah.
Oh wow. There's some comments that have been coming through. I'm going to ask Shelley to put to put some of those up. I mean, what an opportunity! I mean, at the time, how did you explain? I can't remember. I do apologise. I can't remember your wife's name. How did you kind of? I'm trying to work out. She's got a little baby, and you're sort of saying like, "I found a job, something I really like, and it is somewhere you've never been. I've only been for 10 days, but I want to kind of uproot us and try and make a go of it somewhere else." How did she kind of, is it a case of she just believed in you and, or I don't know, did you have that conversation?
Yes, I think I was more excited by the job prospects, and because of the kind of people that I had met here, I knew that I will never be left alone.
Hmm.
And the prospects were huge. It was about something that I always felt in life, personally speaking, having experienced certain bitter experiences in my very young days. I have always been moved to bring people together from across diverse racial, religious backgrounds. I believed in humanity, and therefore this job was promising something so unique that I always say this, that there are very less people in this world who would be so fortunate to be paid for the things that they always wanted to do, because we all can have jobs and we can work hard to kind of earn our bread and butter, and then we go doing volunteering to satisfy our needs, the things that we really really want to do. But I am one of those fortunate and very blessed soul who is paid to do the kind of things that I've always wanted to do in my life. And I'm so fortunate and blessed to have been surrounded by so many good people, and I've not stopped meeting them. I'm still discovering them. That's how I met with you and so many others in your network that I have met. And I'm yet to know so many more people in your network, one to one at some stage as time permits, to learn more from their life stories as well. So yes, my wife was. I was excited, but my wife was very ambiguous about it and very skeptical, very apprehensive. And she is a very intelligent woman. Well, most women tend to be more intelligent than men anyway, but because men look like this, and women can think through so much more. They have to run the family. They know children. They know about their own well-being, which I never thought at that time. I just was excited that it's something that I wanted to do, and here I am getting it. So I must come, and my wife should accompany me. It was as simple as that for me. But she was going through a lot of roller coaster of emotions. But she accompanied me quite happily. She accompanied me, but she struggled initially because I got so busy with my work here. As do you know how busy you keep. Families do get neglected at times, and especially because initially we were only given a 2-year contract with the potential for another 2-year contract. So I was trying to just do the most in those 2 years, thinking that what if I go back after 2 years? Then I don't want to go feeling that, oh, I should have done a bit more. So I wanted to explore and experiment as much as I could. So I was very busy, but she had some difficult time. But rest is story. I mean, she's kind of overcame those challenges with the support of many family friends that we developed here, many relationships that we developed here, and the young little angel that was in our life kept us together as well. And later on, she found her own path also, which then, after 4 years, when we decided to stay on here, she never wanted to stay on. I insisted that I wanted to stay on here. So she found her own pathway, and then I ensured that till date, I'm supporting her in every possible way that I can.
Oh, I didn't realize we were going to be talking so romantically. Oh my gosh. When you sort of say about challenges, you've come somewhere that you don't know. You don't know
Yeah,
the people. You don't know the country, let alone anything else. And
that's true.
then you come to Luton, and even so, what are we talking in the 80s, or when are we talking? You came over.
No, 20 years. So we are talking 2001.
Really now? You look
Yes.
so young, Dave. That's what's confusing me. So young.
No, it just the light shade maybe. I'm
So you
53, so I was 33 when I came here.
Oh, wow. And so, in terms of I'm just trying to think at that time, the dynamics of Luton would have still been so multicultural, so diverse. Did you think at any point, oh my gosh, what have I done?
No,
I mean, as in,
I
you
didn't.
didn't,
I didn't. My wife did.
yeah.
And the very first reaction that she gave me was, it's all good that I can get all things that I need for our survival, like our spices. You go to Buddy Park, get range of things, not only our own thing, but you get so many other different things to try and explore. The African and the Caribbean and Sri Lankan and so many other different things. But she said to me this literally while walking on a biscuit road, saying that, take me somewhere where I feel that actually I have come to England, because it doesn't feel like I'm in England.
So
So yes.
when she said that, because this show is called, as you know, it's called Real Talk.
Mhm.
Okay, it's called Real Talk. So when she said that, I mean, what in your mind? I mean, obviously you'd been over, but in really, to say, for instance, in the Caribbean, they all believe that the Western, as in certainly the UK, is a land of milk and honey.
Yeah.
And literally when they say paved with gold, and we're all rich and we're all living a lavish lifestyle, and obviously reality, and even I suppose, and even the ethnicity of the people that you live with. All of that must have been strange, must have been hard.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the weather was a big factor as well,
Yeah.
making everything gloomy. We had come from a land which was quite warm and tropical. Of course, north, as I said, that we had snowfall up in the north. Things would get, but it wouldn't get dark at 4 o'clock the way it used to get dark in the winter. And we had just arrived in October, at the end of October. So it was very scary for her when I'm coming home late in a new place, things getting so dark and the mornings are so kind of gloomy and dark and gray and rainy and wet and soggy. So all of those things impacted on her. But I think because like you, Dee, I'm very social. I'm very forthcoming. I wanted to meet as many people as I wanted to, as I could, as my time could afford. Um, I think that helped us build up a lot of relationships, a lot of support networks, and of course, it's unfortunate that it took my wife a bit of a time to make her own friends. But until then, she had to depend on the friends that I was making as her friends. There's always a difference that your spouse friends can be your friends, but they are not really your friends, you know. So yeah, it took a while for her to settle down. Yeah.
And so, how did the kid? Because there's two. We've already talked about one. Because there's two daughters, right?
Yes, I've got two. Yeah. Yeah.
Two
The
daughters.
second one was born in 2007.
Hmm.
So she was born here in the UK, and so she's British in that sense. Yes.
So she doesn't know
Yeah.
any different.
No, she doesn't know anything different. No.
And
Yeah.
this one. Oh wow. Okay. So I can imagine in terms of like friends and just kind of like out there exactly what you do. You came along because, to be honest, Grassroots Luton is something they have seen. You see stuff, but actually, what do they do? And so we
Yeah.
need to make sure that people know you've been here for ages, but what do Grassroots, connection with the community and everything.
Yeah. Um, Grassroots essentially is a community organization. It's a Christian organization supported by different churches, but there are several other organizations as well that support Grassroots, that have supported Grassroots over the years. It was um, it was founded in 1991 by my predecessor, whose name was David Cowling, who sadly died 2 months ago. He had worked in Kenya and Uganda and a couple of other countries as an agriculturalist missionary sent by the church to work alongside the farmers to help them develop the land. And while we know that in the past, during the British Empire, a lot of missionaries went to transform and convert the other parts of the world, many of the missionaries also came back feeling very transformed and converted to a very non Eurocentric way of thinking. And David was one of them who, when came back, found it very difficult to settle in the monocultural and a very limited um, kind of outlook and perspective bound church. And he then thought that I would like to start an organization whereby I can enable churches to have a bit of a broader perspective and link with the communities from which they have been divorced over the years. So it is with those very noble and genuine intentions he started this program. And for every project that he would create would be in partnership with a particular church congregation. And that project will be then sponsored by a particular church denomination or another organization. And in that project, he would invite someone to work from the countries of South or East. And the point of his um, inviting people from other parts of the world was simply to challenge that we haven't got it all and that we need to learn so much more from the other world cultures, rather than just to think of that we have the civilization to import to rest of the world. We must also become humble enough to learn from what the rest of the world has to teach to the West. And in that kind of framework, he began to create these projects and began to invite people. So when I came, actually, in 2001, by then Grassroots had finished 10 years of its life, and I joined probably 11 other members from different parts of the world. And I can tell you, at that time when I came and we would have team meetings, it would almost feel like you're watching a BBC Hard Talk show, because there would be robust debates, different perspectives shared that we would have no clue of if we were not meeting with each other in person. Our own perceptions, our own stereotypes, our own prejudices exposed because of our interactions with one another. And that showed us how ill and sick we ourselves were. And we were thinking we are the healers, and we were branching ourselves out into the world to heal the diseases in the world. But we realized that we need to first transform and change and heal ourselves before we can think of changing and healing the rest of the world. So I think Grassroots offered and created that space, that kind of a platform, multicultural, multinational platform within its own office. But over a period of time, austerity has hit the UK. Churches are shrinking, funding resources are shrinking everywhere, organizations are struggling. So there could be no more that level of funding available, made available, in which we could invite people from countries, because it was an expensive affair to call someone like I was invited with my family, then to pay me a salary, to house me initially, pay the rent, pay my utility bills as well. Salary wasn't much, but it was good enough for me to survive. But all the costs, living costs, I think it's not easy. Um, so those kinds of trends ended with me. I was probably the second last. After me, a Brazilian came who was based in Hamel, but still linked with Grassroots. But that was the end of it. After that, I think we have more focused on our local work. And because when, as I said, I arrived in 2001, it was in October, 24th October, I landed up here in Luton. And that was the UN Day that we observe. And 9/11 had just happened. So we were really um, in a world of anxiety and fear and desperation, and so much of misunderstanding and misconception and misrepresentation, and media really hot on the pockets wherever they could see Asian bearded men like me, uh, predominantly considering them all to be Muslims. And therefore, lots of attacks were taking place at that time. Verbal assaults, physical assaults were taking place on women, on young people, um, people of certain appearance. And there were lots of cases of mistaken identities as well. So I kind of began my work in that context, and that kind of influenced the work of Grassroots as well. And it became kind of mainstream emphasis and focus of Grassroots for the next 2 decades that I'm talking about now, from 2001 to 2020 to 2021. Um, but having said that, that's not the only work we have done. We have brought people from different backgrounds, racial, religious backgrounds together. But at the same time, we have also thought about why are we bringing people together, to do what? To an extent, you can bring people together once, twice, thrice, but to keep people together requires a lot more than just a cup of tea and a samosa, or a jerk chicken, or a jollof rice, So we needed to create and find some common rallying points around which we could bring people together. And one of them was fair trade, because here in Luton there were communities which were all concerned about the well-being of our people in our respective countries. And um, we were good in charity. We were raising funds from time to time to send money back home as much as we could. There would be appeals for specific causes. but we are very slow at justice issues. And fair trade is all about justice. It's about giving people what they deserve, giving farmers what they deserve for their labor and for their produce, which in the bigger market, things get exploited. Their time, their effort, their labor gets exploited. And we are so used to buying cheaper deals than giving people what they deserve actually, and buying a little bit more expensive things, but with a fair trade. So anyway, so we created this campaign to make Luton a fair trade town. Then we also looked at, and if you, I don't know whether you have noticed, but if you enter Luton from any of the entry points, you can see on one side says Luton a fair trade town. So that's our contribution to the town. And we were given most outstanding achievement award by the National Fair Trade Foundation of the UK in 2012 for our campaign, for the length and the breadth and the depth of our campaign, for the diversity of our campaign. Um, and it's also a matter of pride, because Luton is considered to be many people think it's one of the crappiest towns. It's one of the rough towns. It's one of the working class towns. It's a poor town. Um, and yet fair trade is very much associated with white middle class. How could Luton become ever a fair trade town? So it was a challenge, but we made it happen, and we did it. So that's one particular area of. The other was climate change. In early 2000, climate change was very much focused around debates and webinars and seminars. It was the thing for learned people and those who were interested in those kinds of issues to come and talk about it, or it was for the young people in different schools who would kind of raise themselves up to participate in conferences and things like that. But we were thinking how best we make sense to people, ordinary people in the street. So we created a project called Faith Woodlands Communities Project, in which we identified a place with the permission of the Forestry Commission in Malden Woods, which is off A6 in between Luton and Bedford. And we took coach loads of people for picnics, for guided walks, for tree dressing events, for festivals in the woods, for den building exercises, all kinds of things we have done. Treasure hunt in the woods with youngsters, with adults, with elderly, different sections of communities. Very focused events we held. So we nearly took about 4,000 people into the woods and exposed them to the nature and help them to connect with the nature and help them to think, what is it that we can take back to Luton? So that was in 2010 till 2013 that project ran. But after 2013, in Luton, there is a series of now transformation of derelict pieces of land into community gardens. Some are called community gardens, some are called peace gardens. So that's the kind of trend that we began. And the very first of that was done in Runley Woods. And in those days, EDL was at its peak. And they were saying that Farley is ours, Dallow is theirs. And it was us and them divide. It was kind of battle zone in those days. So we identified this creative way of connecting the two wards, and we established a natural trail. We got involved people we knocked doors. We got people, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, white, blacks, Asians, all kinds of people came voluntarily and worked with us alongside counselor. We dug the earth, we dug the ground, ring fenced and made the fencing nice, made it presentable, made it safer for women and children to be able to walk that trail. And then we got schools involved, and we trained the teachers to lead the guided walk. When the place became so heavily used, there was lots of community picnics and community events held in the Runley Woods area in those days. But that set a trend, and that set a kind of an example of how it could be done. The second one we did was in Shaftesbury Road. There was a derelict piece of land which now is still in use actually by children and families as a play area. And we got TUI involved in that as well, got the sponsorship for paint work to be done there. But again, knocking doors, involving community in the street, and church and mosque got together to help in that particular project as well. And then we have had one peace garden developed in the University of Bedfordshire premises. Last year, we had the launch of Stopsley Community Garden. There's another one coming up in Eaton Green Road now. And there's Edible Hightown, which is a Friends of Hightown group, doing it litter picking and doing community gardening here in the. So one thing you start, and then one thing leads to the other, and you know that, Dee, from your own work experience, how one thing kind of translates into another initiative. So these are the kinds of things that we have been doing over the years, but there are lots more. I must shut up because I don't want to bore you.
Oh
Mm.
no, not at all, not at all. What was I going to say? Just as put, how can people get involved to help? And I actually posted on there, bearing in mind I've lived in Luton practically all of my life, and as much as I know you, I know, I feel like I just know a fraction of what you do and the work that's been done, and I know that applies to so many people. Um, it's awesome the work that you guys are doing. How can people get involved? How can they find out more?
Yeah. We have the Council of Faiths Facebook page. So if you Google Luton Council of Faiths um, and look for the Facebook page, that's the best to connect and to be updated from time to time what all activities we are doing. Um, just to give you an example of in the post-COVID context, we have come up with this Peace Garden initiative currently, and the idea is to plant a tree in memory of all those who died of COVID. So we are going to be planting 600 plus trees. The first set of tree planting as part of that initiative was done on 18th of December in the Wigmore Park, and in which we already planted 200 plus trees. And the
Johnny, I don't.
second,
Sorry to interrupt you. I know I'm just so rude.
no, that's fine.
How is it a case of I'm just in my own little world? And don't get me wrong, everybody out there, this show's Real Talk, so I'm just being real. How don't I know of this? I just want to cry. I actually just want to
Yeah.
cry right now. That is incredible.
Yes, I think it's very, in one sense, it is good because there is so much good that happens in this world and in our town, and there's so much that is happening. So we are bound to keep missing on. That's what I keep questioning myself, Dee, that of all these years, how come I didn't meet you earlier? So I think to know people, to know about things, they have their own. It happens in its own time.
Hmm.
So we just need to be grateful as and when we come across anything, and we continue to feel inspired and excited by it. Yeah, so I was just saying about this tree plant. The second one is happening on 15th of February in Wardown Park, and 16th of February we'll be doing something in Hockwell Ring. So information around that can be found if you put Google Peace Garden Initiative Luton, you will come up a Facebook page for that. But you can also find information about that on the Luton Council of Faith's Facebook page as well. And a lot of times when there are incidents of international or national or local terror attacks and things like that, when it happens, uh, we convene a group of community leaders and faith leaders, issue press releases, we organize press conferences, issue press statements, organize people to go on to the interviews with the mainstream media, um, and give some sensible statements so that we stand tall in the face of all that seeks to divide us and that seeks to put people against people, um, and so that the peace and integrity of our town is held at all times. We have held rallies at the footsteps of town hall countless number of times, peace vigils, prayer vigils, candlelight vigils, all those kinds of things to create positive buzz whenever the negativity tends to strike in the town. So I always use that word as reactive. Those are some of our reactive activities, that when things happen, we react. And I think I'm very proud of our response hyphen ability, that we are able to swing into action at a very short notice, and that we have leaders from all walks of life, black, white, Asian, faith, or community leaders. At a very short notice, they can come together now, and there is a synergy. And every second month, I convene a meeting of such people from different parts of the community to come together to look at if there are any issues that are affecting and threatening the peace and integrity of our town. So I'll just give you one example. Last year, not last year, year before last, in November, a hate mail, anonymous hate mail was sent, posing as a Muslim, sending it to a Hindu temple, saying that you are to be demonized, you are to be destroyed, you have no right to exist. Very threatening mail. Um, we convened a meeting with we of course informed the police, got the police involved, but after that we kept the police and the local politicians out. We got the two communities to meet with one another. First, leaders came together and they clarified that no sensible person from our community could have sent something like that to you. The fact that it is anonymous, it is definitely someone who is a very much of a criminal mind or who is sick. So while they condemned in person that kind of an attitude, they also expressed their solidarity and shared their solidarity with one another. The result was that the friendships and the bond and the relationships that are built now are even stronger than they were before. So I think that's the kind of work behind the scenes that goes on all the time. Those kinds of things we cannot advertise in the media, we cannot talk about it. I'm talking with you here only because we know that you are sensible, your show is sensible. People who are listening to it in the right spirit rather than to misunderstand or misinterpret it in any way. But that happens all the time. There are people who seek to, I don't know how, even during the time of pandemic, I used to wonder how can there be people who have the time and the will and the energy to be so sick, to do some of the nasty stuff, to put people against people, to incite violence, to incite hatred in the name of people's race, religion, or ethnicity. But every time when that happens, we try and intervene and diffuse those tensions, and the friendships every time are stronger than before.
Wow. So, yeah, um, that's Shelley's put that on there. And you know, sort because I know what you're like, Johnny, and you weren't going to be mentioning this anyway, but there's no way you're going to come on here. So I needed people to know the whole, and myself included, if I'm honest with you, because I didn't know, you know, from your beginning to kind of where you are now. And for now, for you to be in the Queen's honours list for an MBE, give it up, guys. Woo!
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. So,
Mm,
truly, 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 truly well deserved.
yeah.
We're so blessed to have you. And this is it. People do not know, do not know. So, if we've been able to just shed a little bit of light on yourself, and certainly the messages are all coming through now. Congratulations,
Yeah.
coming through from the guys now in
Yeah,
terms
I
of.
can
So
see.
when you got this, you it's I'm presuming because I've not got one as yet. Um, you get like, I mean, did you know beforehand, or is it just something through the post? How does it? I don't know.
Yeah. First of
Do you
all,
get
thanks to
tipped off
everybody
that
who
it's
is
coming?
posting their messages of congratulations. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
everyone, for your
yeah.
blessings.
You get message. Do you get a message beforehand, or do you just get
Yes,
something through the post to say, "Guess what?" And you're like,
yes, it happened like that to me. It
"Really?
came in December, a letter in the first week saying that I have been nominated. It's not final. It has to be kept confidential until it has been actually announced by the Queen's press office. But should I be willing to accept it, I need to call them and accept. And there's a form that they sent along with it. And guess what?
You
Crazy
forgot."
people like you and me, D, I forgot about it. I felt so bad and guilty. I was happy to have received the letter. And then I thought, well, I will look at it when I
I
really
forgot.
get some time and I'll cherish it because I just browsed through it. I was busy at that time when I received the post and I was looking at other letters as well. So I kind of got excited and I must look at it properly when I have some time. And then I kept it in my laptop bag. It's precious, so I didn't leave it with other letters. because I kept it so safely, it sort of got out of my sight and I completely forgot about it. Kind of not necessarily wholly forgot about it. I think I had at the back of my mind that that's something I need to do. But because I think I got in touch with you as well during that time, couple of times I told you, Dee, I'm terribly busy. I've never been so busy. But that particular month, November, December, was very, very busy. And then one day I'm receiving a call on my mobile phone, and that's from the cabinet office that we have sent you a letter, you haven't responded. Oh my goodness, I felt so embarrassed and ashamed of myself because I like to keep up with every bit of communication. I try to be on top of it and to respond to people. I feel very disrespectful if I'm not able to respond to people. So I felt very, very bad about it. So I really sincerely apologized to them, asked them to forgive me, but I said I'll be most honored to accept this if it should come my way. And then it was announced. Again, after that, I had forgotten because I had no clue when will it be announced. And suddenly on the 31st midnight, we all sleep late on the New Year's Eve. I began to receive WhatsApp messages from some of the people in the community. And then I realized, oh, something has happened. So I don't know how come people got the news, but I didn't get the news. Then I Googled Luton today, and then I saw that there was a press release there announcing that I have been, yeah, given this award. So that was very, very, very exciting for the family in particular. My younger daughter, my elder daughter, they were all very happy.
Oh wow. So truly deserved. So
Yeah.
many congratulation
No,
messages
thank you so much.
from not for me, from all of the masses out there who are
Yeah,
watching. Some
yeah,
of them
and
I
that's
know,
what
some
I
of them I don't know.
said. When the very next morning, I received a call from few of the media people, and I just said that I feel so humbled and honored to have received this. I never expected this, but I feel that somebody said to me that you are gracious to others, but that's not good enough. You need to be gracious to yourself as well. So when you
True.
appreciate and admire others, and you expect others to accept your admiration for them, you must also be kind enough to accept others'
Spot on.
admiration for yourself. So, with great sense of humility, I accepted this award, and I said to everybody since then that I've been using this phrase of John, who was an English poet, who said that no man is an island. It's a poignant reminder that human beings do badly when we are isolated, but we thrive if we are part of a community. And you know that from your experience, Dee, very well. And I think I just could not have deserved to receive this award on my own if it wasn't for so many people who have been part of my life as well. I always have advocated and propagated the African philosophy of Ubuntu. I am not because I am because we all are. And so I remain truly and honestly grateful and sincerely grateful to the people and diverse communities of Luton, my past and present co workers and my colleagues, my volunteers, my trustees, all the partner agencies that I have worked with, and uh, people like yourselves, whom I have met only very late in my life. But I'm so grateful that I have met you, and I'm looking forward to developing some work with you as well in the future years.
OMG. OMG. Johnny has gone MBE, but oh, honestly, I'm going to have to get you back because there's so much more. There's so much more. I've got a few people that are waiting in the wings that are going to come on the show. So many messages of congratulations to you, Johnny. Well deserved. Teresa Rhodes, as you know, you are indeed a wonderful person. Um, she's put
Only a
and
wonderful person can find somebody else wonderful. You need to
oh,
have a beautiful heart within you to find the beauty out in the world.
that is so true. So true. What is the last words you want to leave them with? Because you know we've got thousands upon thousands globally watching us right now. Johnny, what words do you want to leave us with going into? Obviously, we're starting 2022, but just to help carry us through.
Well, let me see if I can remember this quote from Well, if you would allow me, may I use two quotes? First is from George Bernard Shaw, who said this, that we have. Sorry, let me just remember. Let me just remember. Um, no, it will come. It will come. I'll go to the other one first. So
Yeah.
there's a woman theologian and thinker called Sally McFay. She says that we, all of us, are being called to do something unprecedented. Now, in the last 2 years, during the pandemic, we have seen the best side of humanity when people have stood by each other, neighbors have knocked on each other's doors. Uh, People have done absolutely remarkably, wonderfully well in terms of looking after one another. But we have also overused the phrase that we are living in very unprecedented times. And hence, I find this quote so relevant and useful, where Sally McFay is saying that we, all of us, are being called to do something unprecedented. We are being called to think about everything that is in our world, because everything is interrelated, and the well being of everyone is connected to the well being with well-being of the whole, well-being of the whole creation. And this includes, she's talking in context of climate change as well, this includes not just the well-being of human beings but the whole of creation. And hence she talks of the justice and the equity and the peace and the integrity of the whole of creation. So I would want to say, as my last word, is that we are all being called, all of us being called to do something unprecedented. We have to do something different from what we have been doing in the past. And Sally McFay says, as part of her quote, that she calls us to subscribe to a planetary agenda. Planetary agenda, by that she means that we are all neighbors and that we all have the responsibility to look after one another and also look after our creation. And that is the call for all the religions, for all the various fields of expertise that include science as well. And that's what I think I am trying to do day in and day out in Grassroots, in Luton Council of Faiths, in Near Neighbours program, striving to do something unprecedented by encouraging constantly a meeting and a dialogue and a conversation between people from diverse backgrounds, not just for the sake of talking together, but for collective action, for common good, for the good of creation. And I think that is where I would want to say that that would be my last word. And I know that we are not there yet. Many times people have challenged me and said this, that is it really worth it, what you're trying to do? I've always said this, that we are pilgrim people. We are people who have journeyed for centuries. We are not there yet, but we are on the journey and we have come a long way already. But it's only a matter of time when we get there. In the meantime, let's not give up on one another. Let's keep going. Let's keep learning together, listening together, and let the compassion and the kindness guide our thoughts and actions in establishing peace and goodwill on earth.
Woohoo! Preach. That's all I keep seeing. Preach, Johnny. Preach.
Sorry if I sounded
No,
like, I
that's
didn't
what I
mean
mean.
to be
That's what.
sounding like
No,
a
they mean
preacher.
that in a good way. They mean it in a good way. Honestly,
Yeah.
they mean it in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, Johnny, congratulations. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and just sharing just a little bit of your story. For all those that are watching and the masses that are watching out there, please put in the comments, because Johnny will be able to look at this kind of like later on. Just your thoughts, anything else you'd like to put in there, because this man is incredible. As you can see and you heard what Johnny said, he's not done this on his own. He can't do it on his own. So it's with the love and support of many people who are out there currently, and many of us that are, I don't know what to do. Is there something that I can give? You heard it here, as Johnny said, we've all got something to give. We've all got
Yeah.
something to give. So, Johnny, on that note, I'm going to have to say goodbye. You can still be hanging around, but for now, our chat is over. Oh my gosh, so many messages. And we're going to welcome. Do you know this young man, Johnny? Have you met this young man before?
No. Can't
No,
remember
you
the
hang around, Johny. You hang around. Um,
Okay.
Greetings and good evening to my next guest, the wonderful Ronald Amanze. Is that correct? I always get your surname wrong. Ronald, greetings, young man. Greetings. How are you?
I'm very well. Johnny's disappeared, but I'm so touched by his conversation. So
He's back.
inspirational.
He's
Oh,
back for you.
Johnny, you are
Yes.
remarkable. You are one of the most remarkable experiences that I've had.
Thank you.
You are not just something I've listened to or someone I've listened to. You have just been an experience, an
Oh,
amazing experience. I wrote down some of the things you said. We stand tall in the light of all that seeks to divide us in Luton. You said so many beautiful and powerful things. And I was thinking, I have to get to know this man. Who is he? I need to learn from this man. So it's nice to meet you.
thank you. Thank you.
Ah, Johny will be hanging around, don't you worry, Ronald. And that's what this show is very much about. That's very much what Simply Deez is about. So when we say share, it's not like, oh, we're bored and we just want lots of likes. We want you all to get involved. Okay, there is no way, I guarantee, anybody that watches this show, you haven't learnt something new or something that's going to benefit either you or somebody else that you know. So, yes, welcome, young man, welcome. So, some people, like Annika, has said, oh my God, Ronald, this is my first time logging on and I did not know you'd be here. Do you know Annika?
Well, I might not. But what I oh yeah, I do know Annika very well. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know Annika.
Oh, I don't,
Definitely.
I
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
That's
I
right,
do.
Sharon. Thank you. And everybody that's all the messages that are coming through. Absolutely incredible. Now, Ronald, a lot of people I know for a fact, because you've got to remember this is we're online, so we're global, we're out to the masses and masses. There are some local people and be like, I've seen him about. I've seen him around. Don't know who he is, don't know what he does. And that's partly why I have the show, because there's so many people doing awesome stuff. How are we going to know? How do we know? So, Ronald, I'm not going to grill you too much tonight. I'm going to give you a little bit of a blight. You're lucky. So, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? And then we're going to bring it up to 2022 and tell the guys what you're up to. So let's, if we can peel back, if we may. Were you born in Luton, young man?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
Definitely
it's like
not.
that, is
Uh,
it?
it is definitely like it, it is definitely like that. But I am grateful for some of the most amazing people that I've met in Luton recently. I'd like to say a big shout out to Annika. Say hello to Annika. Um, and I would like to let everyone know that I was very reluctant to come here today. I came here under I came here under pleasant duress when I was invited by Annika to come here. Um, and if I'd known that Johnny was going to be speaking, I would definitely have not come here. I would have just most probably come to appreciate, and that's it. Because
No.
I'm still overwhelmed by the sentiments that I'm experiencing from this conversation.
We all are, Ronald. But it's very important that my road, your road, Johnny's road, and everybody else's are different, and they're different for a reason. And we're all bringing something to the world. So we just want to have a little taster of your world, if you don't mind. So you weren't born in Luton. You're glad you weren't born in Luton. So can I ask where you were born?
I was born in the UK in a place called London, many,
Okay.
many years ago. Many, many
Yeah.
years ago. I've been living in Luton for the past 20 years. Um, and in Luton is where I think I grew up after being on planet Earth for many, many years, in excess of 50 years. I had a stroke. And it was after that stroke experience that I started to appreciate life. I started to recognize that life was worth living, and it was vital to live life. When you are on the verge of losing life, it just changes your whole vision to the existence of life. So I grew up in Luton. So I was
Wow,
pretty.
you're just. I feel like I know I went boxing last week, but I literally feel, Ronald, that you've literally just kind of give me a couple of punches, and I'm literally up against the right. That's literally how I feel. So I said, "Where were you born?" And then in the next breath, you had a stroke, and then you started to live. That's what you
Yeah,
just said.
absolutely. And uh, because after I had the stroke, and I like to talk about my experience of surviving the stroke. I'm a
Hmm.
stroke survivor. Um, Shortly after that, I got diagnosed with onset of dementia, um, and I went through about 3 or 4 years of denial. I spent my recovery was 3 or 4 years of isolating myself from the world. Um, in many respects, I spent most of my time, or much of my time, sitting in a room downstairs with no windows and no eating, and convincing myself that I was okay, and I wasn't okay. Um, but now I'm over denial. I'm living. I mean, every day is a beautiful day for me. I've had some beautiful experiences constantly. I still have the else issues, but mentally, these else issues seem to make me stronger, make me more enthusiastic about the things that I'm striving for. Strange how a sad experience, a painful experience, has resulted in so many beautiful experiences, which I'm having at the moment.
Well, this is it, because you probably had experiences before, but you couldn't see the beauty in them. Am I right in saying that?
Oh,
Before you had the stroke.
I had lots of experiences where I lost my freedom, and I was taken away from being a part of the world where I needed to be, incarcerated many times. Um, and when I look back on it, it's such a waste of time. It's such a sad affair when you lose so much of your youth because you just didn't understand life, or you chased the wrong things, which just can take you places where a lot of our young people end up just because they were uneducated about the consequences of the things they do. Um, but So I've had experiences, yeah, and I'm having experiences now, and I spend a lot of time on the battlefield with life and with mainstream services, with counselors, with support services, with just people. But overall, everything in my world is just beautiful, and I'm involved with so many things which someone with the health issues that I've got, um, traditionally they don't get it. They get encouraged to take medication and not to be enterprising or not to be proactive about life. They're encouraged, like I was encouraged, to be subservient to services. Don't do too much, Ronald. Don't um, don't don't overexert yourself because of your health issues. But I find um, not doing anything, to I actually start to decay. I start to fall apart and to shut down when I'm not um, doing things. I need to be energized. And being energetic and challenging life is my therapy and my joy. People don't understand that, or the professionals don't understand it. But I would, when I got the diagnosis and they gave me medication, Donna Priscilla, and said, take this, we can only slow it down. What they should have said is, Ronald, go out there and ignite the joy in your life, find beautiful things to release the endorphins in your life. Um, and if anything will slow it down and help you along the way, it would be um, being active and living and learning how to smile. 'Cause I don't smile. I lost the ability to smile. And learning how to be happy, encourage people to get into life.
I
You've
know
frozen.
out there. Guys, have I? Sorry. I need those people who are watching. I need some comments. I need words of encouragement out there, because Ronald, as he said, is here under duress. Kind duress. Can you hear me, Ronald?
Yeah, I should have, I, 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 I'm not the best of explaining myself, and I
You
don't think I
are.
explained myself.
You are.
No, I'm not. No,
You
I'm
are.
not. No, I'm not. But what I should have said, I'm here under extreme duress and intimidation, but with joy, and with joy, and with so much joy after I heard the man speaking before. That was therapy.
Do you see? If you hadn't come along tonight, you wouldn't have heard any of that.
I
So you
know.
was supposed to be here today. Do you see?
Absolutely. And I tell myself so often that the things I decline in life are the things I end up embracing with so much joy. I turn down so much because I lack the confidence to explore. But I've told myself I need to explore, even if I'm just a silent spectator in the room, attend.
Oh, I'm loving it, because I said to Shelley, I said, "Is Ronald there?" She said, like, "No." I thought, "No, really?" The guys out there are listening. As I said, some know you, some don't. Now, you've dropped so many what I would call nuggets. You don't even know it, and that's the beauty of you. You don't even know. Now, you're incarcerated. That's the word you use, incarcerated, for different periods of time. I'm not going to ask what for. I don't need to know that. But in terms of what a waste, you're saying, and if you'd have known. So I have young people watching. I have older people. I have parents, grandparents, aunties watching. What sort of things can we do?
Well, when I reflect on a, a lot of my past, and I think one of the things I wish I had add, not that I regret any of my past. In fact, much of what I experienced, even the sad experiences, were they're assets in my life now. But I should have had role models, because all my role models when I was growing up in a place called in Alston, which is in London, Stonebridge and Alston, all my role models were those who were involved with crime, robbing, importing drugs, doing very, very things that revolved around criminal activity. And because they were always, from I was very small, they were always the flamboyant personalities. They always presented themselves in a lavish, amazing way. I guess I was gullible to being seduced by the things that so many of our young people become seduced to. You know, the jewelry and the amazing notions of a lifestyle, which is is just always, more often than not, it's only achievable through many people getting involved with criminal activities, which is a short-lived experience because it always comes on top. And it would be nice if these kids had alternative sources of inspirations. So the adults need to be very much in the mix of things. We can't leave young people to it. We as adults need to be the role models, and we need to be active role models.
Very much so. And what I say, all the things that have been that we see now, and what we're talking about now, if they look around and they're not seeing, so your role model doesn't necessarily have to be your father or your mother. We're all uncles, we're all aunties, we're all part of the village, the community. And back in kind of my time, which was a little while ago, I would come home from being out and my mum and dad would be telling me what I've been doing. And I'm thinking, how do you know that? Because other people used to look out for you. Whereas now, a lot of us tend to look, that's right, Sharon, active role models. A lot of people, it's like me and mine and focus there and don't think about anybody else, and what goes on in the world does not impact me. If that does not impact me, I'm not going to worry about it. But we should care, correct?
Yeah, definitely. In role models and or positive sources of inspiration. You, sister-in, my friend.
It's been nice to me now, everybody.
Yeah, because you were one of the beautiful inspirations that I encountered about 6 or 7 years ago when I was in a there was an event taking place, and you encouraged me to get up on stage and talk amongst to people.
I think that was International Men's. It may have been.
It may have been, but the bottom line is, then suddenly I realized the beauty of being honest with yourself and being able to just to be able to it's like you have to be, it's just to be able to say you feel pain and you're sad or even cry. You actually broke the ice in me, so to speak. And I think so many of us need to melt our emotions. We're so stern with them. So yeah, the community, good people who can actually just do what you did to me, just made me feel able to be honest with myself
and others.
and others.
And we're so hard on ourselves sometimes, and that's how I think makes us. And I can't do this good enough, and all this sort of stuff. And we need to know it doesn't matter who you are good enough. Ronald, you're going to come back another time because there's so much more to you. I have got here, because this is what I love. I've got here our new book. And when I say our, it so happens people are going like, oh, that's that life. That's not life inner. This is life outer lockdown. This is life inner. This is life outer lockdown. Now you guys are thinking like, oh, has Dee sold a copy to the Ronald? I'm going to hand over to Ronald because I'm not sure what he's going to say. Ronald, why have you got that book? Why have you got those books?
Because I happen to be one of the authors in the book. I am.
No way.
Yes, absolutely. Again, it's something. Wait a minute. It's something I didn't want to do because I didn't feel that I had anything to contribute to it. And Pamela Thompson encouraged me. She told me about it. I didn't do it. She came back and said, "Have you done it?" I didn't do it. She chased me for quite a while, and then she said, "I'm coming around to sit with you to do it." And it's so great because I left school at 13 with no credentials, no qualifications. I struggled to read until I was about 14, 15. And so I got no academic credentials whatsoever. So for me to be in a book, that for me says so much.
Turn it the other way round.
It's upside down. That's like my brain upside down.
The other one was the right way up. Yeah. So what chapter are you, Ronald?
Well, I'm trying to be modest here, but I happen to be chapter 1.
Chapter 1?
Yeah, chapter 1. And that is like...
Yeah. That's massive.
Yeah, well, that's the start of that's like a start of a new journey for me. And I'm going to build on that journey after all this time on planet Earth. What I find beautiful about this, I feel like I'm a part of a family.
Oh, bless you. You are.
I absolutely also, and after for so long being in the community where I felt I was excluded from the community or was not a part of the community, I feel this is such a important thing for me. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. So, this book came out like 2 weeks ago, guys. 2 weeks ago. Life Out of Lockdown 2021, Beyond Closed Doors. It's only right that we have Ronald, who's written chapter 1. If you can tell us the title, Ronald, and could you read us just to tease them into buying the book? Okay, I'm sure I'm going to get a producer
I have
to
to
put
put
the
my
links
glasses
up
on.
there. That's okay. I've got mine on.
Okay.
Don't read them too much, but enough for them to think, my gosh, I need to go and get the book.
Okay. I should be able to read this fluently, but I can't. I'm testing myself beyond expectations. Unsure if this makes sense. It's chaotic, but it's my normal. Showing a different side of me, allowing my creativity to roam free. Finally stepping outside in courage and sharing emotional vulnerability.
Oh, see, somebody's already put, where can I get the book? Somebody's put, his piece is amazing. He's one of our men. OMG. I, not just myself, I'm lead author of the book, but I know sort of like from many other people who are part of the book. There's 23 of us, guys. There is 23 of us. And Ronald, as you can see, Ronald is right here. Yep. Chapter 1. And do you know what? The fact that Ronald said it, it's like family. And I don't know about your family, but do you know what? Family comes in different shapes, different sizes, the highs, the lows, all of that. But I'm so grateful and just so happy that you can say that, Ronald. We're so blessed to have you. We really are. We are going to be, well, we are on an incredible journey. Nobody, no one can take this away from you, from any of us.
Thank you.
No one. One.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for inviting me. Ronald, you need to hang around because you're going to say, oh, I met somebody else. Okay, so for now, guys, we're going to give it up for the lovely Ronald. He will be back another time. Guys, please put in your diaries. We're going to be talking a little bit more later on. The 9th of April, Saturday, the 9th of April, we are having a book launch for books 1 and 2, celebrating. There'll be lots of authors there. So if you've got books, you can get them signed. If you haven't, you can purchase. There'll be merchandise and a whole load more. So Ronald, thank you so much, darling.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. I'll see you later, darling. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Where is, I know I've got another guest that's waiting in the wings. I've got to limber up because he's going to show me up in a minute. But is he there? Can we bring on?
Yes.
Oh.
I didn't know if you were speaking about me.
Oh my gosh, I knew today was going to be like this today. Where are my partners in crime? I've got the producer, Shelley. I may have just Mr. Mina in the wings. Jordan, don't pretend like you've got a life because you haven't. You sit tight, young man. We're going to be bringing you in now. I'm kind of, I look like I'm a Dalek. The reason being, I went boxing for the first time on Thursday.
Okay.
With Boxing Saves Lives, JP Smith.
Okay,
I didn't do any damage done, but like, ooh, I ain't done nothing for a long time, and like, Lord of mercy.
your body will get used to it. It's just a shock. That's all. It's just a shock.
You think that's what it is? A shock? It's more than a shock. Now, before I go any further, young man, I've been told by my niece, Jade Thomas.
Okay. Yeah.
To say hi. She's out
Jade.
doing whatever shenanigans. She said, I'm missing the show. Jordan's on the show. I did karate with him. La, 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 la. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So I said,
and she was good as well, man.
I know. I know.
How are you, D, man?
What can I say? I am blessed.
Yeah.
I am truly, I'm truly blessed.
Can I just say, everything what I've just heard, is just inspirational. Since I've been in, obviously, Life Out of Lockdown book, that I'm definitely getting that, and I'm definitely going to have a little read. Definitely, 100%. And just listening to Ronald as well, I don't actually know if he knows that how inspirational he is. Like,
he doesn't.
Just the resilience to come back from what he's gone through and to where he is now. It's just,
I don't know. Is Ronald still around or is Ronald gone? Producer, I bet Ronald's gone. This is what I'm talking about. If I say something to him, certain people, Ronald just be like, you're just kind of being nice and all that sort of stuff. He needs to hear from other people the impact of when he shares what, you know, it's one of them. It's one of them. So welcome, young man. Oh, my gosh.
Thank you.
I was going like, oh my God, I've got injuries. Suppose he makes me do something on air.
Nah. Hey, when I got the DM on my Instagram, it's of course I'm coming on. You know what I mean?
Oh,
of course I'm coming on. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
Oh, bless you. So you got to remember, because we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. We have thousands upon thousands watching. Not everybody knows who you are, anything about you. There's like some geezer sitting there. Dee's got him on who is he? Apart from the fact that the producers put a little strip thing on there that's telling them exactly who you are, what you do. So this is what the show's called Real Talk with Simply Deez.
Yeah.
And rather than
I feel like I'm gonna get cussed out at some point as well. I'm playing.
You won't get cussed out by me. Well, not at the beginning. I just lead you into that. So what I do, I like to peel it back. So rather than like, oh, this is what I'm doing, it's like, you didn't just born at your age. There's got to be, you know, let's peel it back. I'm not presuming anything, because I'll be honest with you. You gave me some information. I didn't read it. I just wanted it to so that we could put it on there. Okay. If I know everything, I don't feel, I know that. So
it's
I'm
got to
not
be
presuming.
Natural. I get it.
Exactly. Exactly. So where were you born?
Born in Luton town.
Yay! He is a Lutonian, guys.
I'm proud.
Tell them. This is just it, because you hear all these different things, and then it's a case of people like, and it's like, nah. You've got no idea. So here,
the way I look at it is, it's where I'm from, and it's created who I am today. You know, it's had influence. So you know, that's I'm always going to represent. Always.
Oh, that's what we want to hear, young man. That's what we want to hear. Okay, so you're one of
where 1 of 5.
1 of 5.
Yeah,
okay, so where do you fall? So I'm 1 of 5, and I'm like middle child. People go, you got that middle child syndrome, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Where do you fall?
I'm middle child.
You're joking, are you?
Yeah, I'm middle child. Yeah.
So I don't know. What's that supposed to mean anyway? Middle child. What's it supposed to mean?
Hey, get told what to do by your elders. You know what I mean? And then doing your chores for your chores for the younger. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. How old are you, young man? Can I ask?
Yeah, I'm 29. You're
29. Okay. Same age as my Jordan.
That's right.
So with that then, back in your time, whole thing you're talking about, tell them whatever you can share, because I don't know what, as in your childhood. Because when you say chores, people are going like, what do you mean chores?
Chores.
These people don't know nothing about chores.
No.
Tell them.
You know, you know, just the washing up, you know, making sure that, you know, the dinner's being cooked. Might have to cook for my little sister. You know, if I have to clean up the house. You got certain chores around the house you have to do. Walk the dog. You know, and obviously when you go to nan and granddad's, you know, it's to help. You have to help at every opportunity. You know what I mean? If your cat's sitting down, you're gonna get cussed. Do you know what I'm saying? So you best just be active.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, a lot of people I know, even now, it's like, and certainly, well, in my time, it was a case of my brothers. They didn't have to do anything.
Right. Okay.
It was us girls that had to do, because as in like young, it was a case of like the women did everything. So from what you're saying, that weren't how things ran.
But you know what? Had to. Yeah, but you know what? The women are powerful in the family. They run things. They you know what I mean?
I'll do a little rewind. Tell them. I want you to tell them out there. Who?
Women run things, you know. Even now, like I've moved out, I'm in an environment. I want to be in a woman's environment, because that feels like home. You know what I'm saying? You know, I feel I feel at home when, you know, it's like that. So yeah, it's that's a definitely that's one of the things that women do run things. That's it. I'm not afraid to say
I
it.
love it.
Not afraid to say it.
Excellent. For those that are thinking me and Jordan have spoken wrong, because we haven't. We haven't. So how was school for you? Did you enjoy school?
School was a mixed one. It was a mixed one. Yeah. How was school for me? Okay, so
I need the real talk.
Yeah, I'll give you the rule. So I'm dyslexic, right?
Okay.
And I didn't get told. That didn't get found out. That got missed during my whole life at school, primary, high school, college.
Really?
Yep, didn't get picked up, right? So it's only when I went to became part of Team GB. In GB karate, there was funding, and we put it on a dyslexia test, and I came back severely dyslexic, right? And then basically in GB, it goes out to the whole team, how they treat you, how they respond. So, for example, speaking to me in a big crowd with loads of people around, sometimes my processing skills isn't the best. So what you do is you bring me into a room where there's nobody about, give me the information, so it gives me time to process. But going up in school, that wasn't picked up at all. And also going in, this sometimes it you know, in my dad's mind, in dyslexia is not a thing. It's not an excuse. And actually, I think it actually benefited me, just because I found my own coping strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And a way to get through it, and built that little bit of resilience. So I'm not complaining at all, because that's just how life planned out.
But how was it in school? Saying like it wasn't found out till you left high school, college, and what have you. So in school, are you saying? I mean, did you struggle?
I struggled. You know, loss of concentration in the class. You know what? My school report was, Jordan is a nice boy, but is easily distracted. That, you know, that
how
was
many do we? Yeah.
yeah. You know, so that was very, very common. You know, my grades, they wasn't the best. You know, like it even reflects when I went through my driving theory, and I'm trying to revise the driving and just not processing it. But then my cousin said, Jordan, I think you're dyslexic. Try using the headphones and let it speak to you. So I put on the headphones and I listened to the questions, and I got 50 out of 50. You know, it's just like ways to learn and ways to write, but that never got picked up. So yeah, and also I got sent to JFK in Hemel Hempstead, and I was one of the only black people in my year, so that was quite difficult as well. So, you know, I was fighting quite a bit. I was sitting out the head teacher's office. I was in isolation, you know, just because, you know, I wasn't taking any rubbish. Like, and you know, as a boy, you stand up for yourself. You're not going to take it. And also, only now it's become more to light about D&I, diversity and inclusiveness, and what's going on because of how big social media is, and we can see, you know, across the world, and you can't really get away with it now. But back then, it was missed. It wasn't a thing. So teachers were encouraging it without even knowing, you know, with the passing comments. So I had to deal with that quite a bit as well. So yeah, you know, but when I came back to Luton, I felt comfortable. You know, my friends are from Luton. The people that, you know, I surround myself with are from Luton, you know, because that's just my comfortable space.
Wow. Okay. So I'm thinking, so were you kind of like, I mean, as parents, I can imagine, is it a case of like school always ringing? Jordan's done this.
Yeah,
Jordan done that. La,
Yeah.
la, la, la.
Or-
I know.
Yeah.
I used to get them calls.
Yeah, or like because we had to get the coach to Hemel Hempstead.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like Jordan's been kicked off the bus and he's suspended off the bus.
You ain't even got on the bus.
Yeah, not allowed to be on the. I'm not allowed to get on the bus. So how am I getting to school?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was a lot of occasions like that. But you know, I had positive role models at the same time. What I was doing outside of school. And positive environments as well, which I was placed in as well. So, yeah, I'll say that's where my privilege came from, is that I did have someone to look to, and kind of have my own way of looking out to the world and making that, and having them leadership skills. That's what I kind of gained from coming from outside to then bring into school. So that's how I dealt with it. So,
oh my gosh. The comments. There's comments. We'll get to some of those. Yeah, we'll get to some of those in a moment. So, okay. So you're at school, the times that you're at school.
Yeah.
So what are you doing outside of school that is keeping you on that straight?
Yeah. So I was heavily involved in sport. Was playing for Luton schools.
Yeah.
Back in the day, got scouted for Watford. Watford Academy, and then I was doing karate, of course. So I was English and British champion as a youngster. My dad used to run.
What do you mean a youngster? How old are we talking?
11,
wow.
12, 13. Yeah, I was always winning like national championships at a very young age. That's how I knew I had like quite a bit of talent in it. And my dad used to run a lot of community classes around Luton. So in Marsh Farm, Lucy Farm, Hockwell Ring, you name it. There was a Farley Hill, right. You know. Yeah. So like there was, you know, that I was always active. I always had that family. So yeah, that's where I come from.
Oh wow! So with all of this, is your head kind of like starting to swell a little bit? I'm just asking. I'm just throwing. Look, this is real talk. I'm just asking. I don't know.
Do you know what? I'm gonna be totally honest. Yeah. So I'm world champion, right? I'm a world karate champion.
I've got world karate champion on my phone.
I'm a world karate champion, but I always say that don't define who I am. Mm-hmm. That doesn't define who I am. You know, you take it. It was Jordan Thomas who won that in the first place. You know, so you strip my titles, I'm still who I am. You know, and that's the way I go in. And a lot of my life lessons, you know, I'm a beginner's mind. So everything that I go into, I'm a beginner. I go out with no judgment. You know, so I'm learning every day. You know, I'm learning like a whole new set of skills every single day. You know, and passing no judgment as well. You know, I just don't need that. I don't need that in my life. I don't need that energy. You know,
wow. So at 29, I'm listening to you, and I'm like, you've got a slightly older person's head on your shoulders. Is that because you've been exposed to certain things? Because, yeah.
So do you know what? I think it's just because of the people that I have around me and the inspirations that I have around me, and that's me being totally honest. So for example, like this is what I kind of say to the youngest when I go into the schools, when I go into when I go and speak to when I go to different clubs. This is what I say. Like, it starts with a dream, and then that dream then goes into desire. Once you have desire, then you've got to make some goal settings. And then you've got to see where you're going and plan to get there. Once you've planned it, once you've done the goal settings, then you have to put it into action. Now, none of that all happens. None of that even matters if you don't have your support network. Now, who's your support network?
Yeah.
Who do you have around you? Now, in this world, you have dream snatchers, right? And dream supporters.
Woo! Oh, right? I need a rewind on that one, mate. I need a rewind on that one. Come again.
You have dream snatchers and dream supporters.
Whoa.
Yeah, and dream snatchers can be people who are as close to you like in your family, in your,
Yeah.
but they might even not even know it themselves, just because of the space that they're in. But you need to recognize it. You need to go into yourself. Who are the dream supporters, and that's who you surround yourself with. And over the years, I have gone into a space where what has been difficult, felt lonely, felt even though I became world champion, I'm at the peak of my career. That was probably, just after that, there was times and peaks where I felt that was the loneliest I've been. It's just, and that's because of the people who popped up from nowhere, like, just, oh, you weren't here before, but you're here now. And, do you know what I mean? And just sapping that energy and taking all of that out of you. And I didn't even know that was going on. And then, luckily the environment that I've created around me, I'm now part of a charity called Inspire You, who, which works on like high performance coaching. We do neurofeedback. We help children. We help adults get into the next stage of the career. Doesn't matter how old you are. We believe there's talent in everybody, in every single body, but sometimes we just need to believe in them. Yeah. And
oh my
we
gosh,
just need to
preach.
We just need to believe in them,
on the show today.
because sometimes the pathway seems impossible, but we need to unlock that and say, no, it is possible. We just need to show them the way.
So did you say inspire you?
Inspire you.
Inspire you
vision.
Inspire you vision. So you're part of that organization, or you?
Yeah. I'm part of that. And it's a worldwide a charity that is based in the UK, but we go worldwide. We've got connections in Zimbabwe. We go to South Africa, Botswana. We're going to deliver some sessions out there.
We got connections. The producer, when I'm in the station, she's watching now, Lady Munya.
Okay.
She's from Zimbabwe.
Love it.
Connection.
So there you go. So we got some big plans coming out in Zimbabwe.
We have. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we've been to Brazil as well, Rio de Janeiro.
Wow.
So it's it is just a worldwide thing, and it's we're just working on peace, because isn't that what we should be striving for? World peace.
For real. Yes.
If you're not striving for world peace, my question is why? We're doing real talk now, isn't it? That's why.
I tell you what, for those people that don't enjoy church, Justina, who is, I don't know if we can actually bring her in. I'm scared to bring her in, to be honest with you. But it's just discovering church right now. But I'm telling you now, all I've had on tonight, my first 3 guests have all literally taken us to church in some shape or form. My gosh. Now, I heard you GB karate champion, blah, yep, top of that game. So why you stopped?
Why have I stopped in karate?
Yeah, because shall I tell you what? If you said to me karate, I'll be like, I don't know the difference. I've got no idea.
Yeah. No, so karate has been involved. My dad's a world champion. So I'll come from a long legacy. Me and my dad was the first to ever do it as a father and son in the sport. It's never been done before. And it's taught me some massive life skills. Now, I'm going to Taekwondo because it's like I said to you before. Karate has helped me in so many ways. But also it showed me that I'm a martial artist as well. So I'm not scared to take on new martial arts and spurs. And like I said, I'm a beginner's mind. I like learning. I like to go and judge, and I like the challenge as well. And karate is now not in the Olympics. So that's been taken out. So I had my one chance, and there was so I was part of Team GB. I was part of an elite performance program funded by the lottery, which helped me in so many ways. And at my qualification event, one of the fights that I needed to get through, I was winning 2-0, and then 2 seconds to go, I received a head kick. Now that head kick put me 3-2 down, and 2 seconds just wasn't enough to get it back. So that's why I didn't reach the Olympics, because of that one fight. And for me, that was 5 years of hard work just gone down the drain, right? But Taekwondo.
How did you get over that?
How did I get over it? It's just about, do you know what? Again, I had to take ownership. I had to take responsibility. I've done it to people. It's sport. I've done it to people in the last second. My guy, he's trying to win. I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
And that's the risk you take. And actually, once I kind of took that responsibility, because I wasn't about to. I could say, oh yeah, it was his fault. That fault. I could blame it, but come on, let's go to reality. It was me out there fighting. Yeah. It was, you know what I mean? There was nobody else out there who done it. It was me out there fighting, and I had to kind of look at it. Had to be aware of how I am. I had to be how I feel. I had to be aware of what state I was going to. But having help with the people around me, that support network.
This is it, isn't it?
Yeah, because when you win, then people are there winning with you, and when they lose, they're there to pick you up, and they still believe in you. They still believe that they can do it. And they're the real people that you want.
Definitely
with you
in
and
your
around you. In your
literally. Yes.
So and that's it. That's just taking the responsibility and ownership. And actually, when one door shuts, another one opens. And faith is massive. It's one of the most powerful emotions that human can have, and that's to believe. So I ain't stopping believing. It doesn't matter how many times I fall. I ain't stopping believing. I could still make it. I could still go forward. I could still, do that. And some people think, yeah, okay, that's cocky, whatever. No, actually, no. I know my value. I'm believing in myself, and and I actually put a challenge out to everybody, and actually just say, I'm amazing. I can do this, because you're here, you're speaking, you're breathing. Appreciate, like, gratitude. Have you got food?
It's a must. Tell them.
You know what I mean? Have you got food in your fridge? Because there's, that's for me. That's life. Health, life, living, and that's what I strive for. Is just to live, but have a lifestyle that I enjoy and love, and being able to share that with the people that I love.
Oh my gosh! Do me a favor, Jordan, before I forget. There's a young lady, a friend of ours, who I think she's just woken up. I think she may have been sleeping. Her name's Neighbours. Okay. She took a fall, not down the stairs. Probably about a week ago. Actually, she got a footing cast and what have you in that. But she does Taekwondo.
Okay.
So when she knew you were coming on the show, she's like, oh, I do think she may have, I don't know, some sort of class that she can actually start supervising or teaching it, or I don't know, whatever. She's written loads of messages.
Okay.
Loads of messages. Can you just say hello to her? She'd be rather honored.
What's her name again? Sorry.
Nike. Like Nike.
Nika.
But it's Nike.
Nike.
Yes.
Hello, Nike.
Get well soon.
Get well soon. It's as these things are just to test us and challenge us. As a martial artist, it's a lifestyle. It's not going anywhere. So best just heal yourself, rest up, and then you'll be able to go on about. You can still practice Taekwondo, just not from actively doing it. You can, bring it on and embrace it as a lifestyle and a philosophy, and that's how I go on.
Oh, she said she's waving and she's grinning.
Hey, yes, Nike.
Excellent. So, as I said, I've got no idea. So, is it much different, karate and I don't know. Is it a lot?
So it's like chess and checkers. It's two different games. It's two different sports. karate do kick, but you're allowed to sweep, you're allowed to punch to the face. In Taekwondo, it's all kicking. You're allowed to punch to the body, and it's full contact as well, so you can knock them out as well. In karate, you can't knock them out. So
mercy.
Yeah, so it's completely different. You got I'm going into a sport which is well established, been in the Olympics for 20 years. Especially Team GB, front runners of Taekwondo. So you can imagine caliber. I've got Olympic gold medal. I've got Olympic champions, Olympic medalists, world champions. I'm training alongside. So yeah, it's a good atmosphere. It's it's a good environment to be in. Environment of champions.
Guys, get your questions ready for this young man, because I'm going to ask him a few. So so me, sort of like, I was watching Dreamgirls on Friday night at at the theatre. Great. Sat there, ate a couple of bags of popcorn, minstrels. I'm presuming, I could be wrong, your diet.
What's that, sorry?
Your diet.
My diet.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't eating popcorn and minstrels. I mean, how disciplined, as in eating wise, do you have to be, or can you kind of like, I don't know, 6 days discipline, 1 day off, or I don't know, how does it work?
Yeah, do you know, it's a funny one. Off season, you can be more relaxed, so you can enjoy a burger, you can enjoy a nice little McDonald's, KFC. But yeah, no, it's very important to make sure you got all the nutrients in your body, and that's my main focus. Like, for example, I've got my little turmeric here, turmeric shots. I take one a day. Yeah. I've got my little protein here. I've like literally for me, it's again, it's a lifestyle, but you got to make sure that there's a balance as well. So I like to kind of trick my body sometimes. So if I'm got a fight if I've got a 6 week block and I'm training for a fight, there might be every 2 weeks I'll make sure I have a takeaway. I'll make sure I have, because now in these sports it's very easy to get eating disorders. So you have to be very aware of that. So you have to make sure that you are looking after your mental health and aware that you're going into a different bubble. But luckily, again, I have the support where I do have a psychologist, I do have a neuro coach that helped me, kind of switch into different zones and understand what I'm doing.
It's so fascinating. It's, for those people that thinking like, right, do a little bit of training, and then you just rock up and
yeah, no, do you know what? This is it. Like, and like this is to life as well, right? So a lot of people, when you win like a world title, or when you win, say you get a promotion at work, or your business is going well, or you published a book, right? A lot of you get some negative people saying, "Oh yeah, that was lucky." Like, you do that by luck, but actually, no. Like, okay, so even if you want to say that's luck, I had to be in that position to make that happen. Everything what we have done is on purpose. What we do yesterday is going to affect today, and what we affect today is going to tomorrow. It was me who put myself in position to be number one in England, to go to that world championships, then to compete for that world title. So no, we do things on purpose, and that's it. Whatever what comes on, we do things on purpose. It just comes.
So, young man.
Yeah.
Questions. There's so many comments. That's what keeps throwing me. It says ramp up for 2 years in Paris with us screaming in support.
Yeah. That's it. That's that's my goal.
Yeah. So you go into schools, you do talks, you do, I presume, motivational things, all sorts of stuff like that. This is not going to last forever. are you already in your mind kind of like, okay, I don't know whether 2024, because no offense, you're getting on. I don't know what is a what is, I don't know, it could be after that. But I mean, what sort of other things would you be kind of like, do you know what? This is where I think I'm going to go when I stop this career. You know, what other fields do you think you may go into?
So mine is, delivering martial arts, but through a positive outlook. So through my charity, Inspire You, still go into these schools to project, and with the ultimate goal piece, and inspire the kids, inspire the adults, inspire adults to go and pursue their careers, because it can be done, and that's always been my passion. And even before I became European champion in 2014, I was working part-time, but I was also volunteering at school in a behavioral school. So this is just like what I've always been in. This is my passion, helping people, because we know that, in Luton there is a lot of trouble. There is, but let's actually strip it back and let's go why are they behaving like that? That's the thing that we need to change around.
It's the intervention.
It's the intervention.
Rather than
So that's why that's always been my passion, just from young, just helping people getting through to their next stage. And if I can save that one person, isn't that a win? Like, do you know what I mean? Isn't that just do you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna continue that journey, and obviously that is my purpose. And even if I don't make that Olympics, I'm still this is the way I am going. This is my purpose, and I know why I'm doing it. And hopefully I can inspire somebody else to be going, right, actually I can do it. And it don't have to be in sport, it don't have to be in martial art, it could be in business. And that's where I want to go with that.
You are absolutely there's so many comments about being a role model. Justina, who is part of like Simply Deez, as in the organization, is going to pinch you.
Okay.
Not literally pinch you. But there's so many different things that we do. And in terms of, I know people will be wanting to connect with you. We've got information scrolling. Scrolling on the screen. What do you want to kind of leave the guys? Because there's so much information that you've shared already. I'm kind of like, I have to watch this back tomorrow. And then, because when you're in it, you know there's something.
No, we're just talking. We're just talking,
back,
innit?
Exactly. When you watch it back, it's like, OMG, the G. Seriously. My thing is, if we can change one life, in instances, we're saving lives also as well, in the bigger picture and in the scheme of things. So what do you want to leave us with, Jordan? You've shared, you're coming back anyway, that goes without saying.
Of course.
And if you need, as in terms of obviously the organisation that you talked about, if there's anything that you want sharing, we know people, radio, Lady Munya, the station, we certainly would be sharing, getting that out. If you want to come on and promote anything, you just let us know, and we'll do that also as well. But what do you want to leave the guys with before you go?
Do you know what? It's if I had to give any advice, is just kind of just understand yourself. You have to know who you are first before you go and attack everything. That's the beginning, where think about why you're doing it and what is your why. If you're not happy,
I've heard that so many times. So I hope certain people are listening. What is your why?
What is your why? What is your why? Why are you stepping out the door? Why are you going to work? What are you? What does it support of what you're doing, what you stand for, and where you want to go? And that's the challenge. And a lot of this is what happens in in Luton quite a bit is that we're money motivated, right? So strive to money, like what's the quickest way to get it, blah blah blah. But you know, my understanding of money comes and money goes.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, if you just live for lifestyle, money would just come on your path.
Yeah.
And that's it. Your money will just come on your path. And that is actually from a great mentor that I have called Leslie Fairclough, who's one of the founders, is the founder of Inspire You Vision of the charity. And yeah, that's something that's probably one of the best advice that I've had is to kind of actually go into yourself. What do I actually want to do? What motivates me? You know, why am I doing this and why am I doing that? Because like I said earlier, we do things on purpose. And once don't we just want to live? Don't we want to have a life? Don't we want a lifestyle? And it's difficult at times. But if you remember your why and why you're doing it, it becomes so much easier.
You've dropped, what we say, some nuggets, my dear. You've dropped so many nuggets today. I can't thank you enough, Jordan, seriously.
No, thank you, D man.
No, honestly, you don't. When I say you don't know, you don't know.
That's it. You got the Inspire You Vision. That's it. Yeah.
Producer, are you there? Come on. If the producer is there, Shelley. There she is.
Hey.
She's partner in crime for the Simply Deez events. Shelley.
Amazing. Yes. Well, I did put it in the chat a bit earlier. When Dee sends me the links and I'm putting so you got all links everywhere else, I read up a little bit. I knew Dee would only skirt across it to get the basic, but I did read up. And then when I read it, all I kept thinking was, how can someone have one goal in mind, being the Olympics, and all of a sudden having to still get to that goal, but find a way of skirting, going that other path to get to the same goal. And then when you first started talking, it all just made sense. Just who you are as a person and how that would be easier for you to do that because of what you've got instilled in yourself.
Yeah.
So,
and that was, that's something that I've worked on. And you have to work on it. Your brain is like a muscle, and if you don't work at it, it's just gonna deteriorate, just like your muscles. If you don't use your physical, if you don't walk, you've got to train your mind. And this here is the most important thing. This is where it starts, and that's it. And that's something that you've got to take care of and don't get preached enough. Is your mentality, is the way you think, and is your brain. So.
Quite a lot of sports. I've got people don't realise that sports comes from the brain. It comes from that belief in yourself and knowing what you can do, what you can't do, and the discipline from it.
Do you know what? It's funny because you go into a world championships. You go into the warm up area, right? And this is something that people just blows your mind. If I brought you both into a warm up area, and I said pick out world champions and the Olympic champions, you wouldn't be able to do it because everybody can punch and kick at speed. Everyone's the best and number one in their country. You wouldn't be able to do it. But it's about what happens out in the competition map and about how now we see what's up here. Now we see how they get through it. Now they see when they're up against the vets how they overcome. And that's the champion's mentality and the mindset. You're not getting how quickly can you recover from a mistake? All them little things come into play, but not a lot of people realize actually, it starts from the brain, just like you said.
Yeah, I've been around a lot of boxers. My dad and my uncles were boxers, and now my cousin has got his own boxing gym and things. And he did a boxing match up this way. And I went along and I was invited in round the back kind of thing, because you can't go sit out the front on your own. And even though it was his own guys that he'd got there, I said, he doesn't feel right, does he? And he goes, I've told him, I don't think he's not doing so well. But because I hadn't met this poor lad before, I was kind of, I don't think you're feeling just, there's some other pressure. There's something else that's going on with him. And he said, as he came out, he said, I knew as I was going in, I was trying to fight it and I wasn't accepting it for anyone. I just know I needed to do it and just get in there. And I didn't feel right. And it just shows.
You know what? And that's it. If you're not right, nothing goes right. How many times have you felt a certain way where you felt rubbish and everything's just going wrong? Just from where, like, you're just about to walk out the door and your coffee spills on you. Or you go out, you know, you tripped over. Somebody cuts you out up on the road. And how many things does that happen because you feel a type of way? But how many times have you felt good? And good things just keep going. Keep going, you know, you're just achieving, you know, really good, you know, you're just winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. And that's because you're in that feeling. And that's how you think when you look at these sports and when you look at, they say about, like, if you're looking at athletics, for example, they say like track time, and then they win, they you know, they might be at the beginning of the season, they might be getting their bronzes, they might be getting silvers, or not running their best time. But then they start picking up because the way they're feeling now, their mind is peaking because they're getting these good results. So now you're just bouncing off one to the other, one to the other, one to the other, one to the other, one to the other. You know, somebody who keeps on winning, like Usain Bolt, you know, getting the gold after gold after gold after gold. It's a feeling. And yeah, once you get that, you like, when you get that feeling, it's like being in the Matrix.
Yeah.
But I've been in that situation where, like, that boxer going in, I've not been in a clear-minded, I've been distracted, I've got a lot of, you know, outside noise coming in, and you just, you know, focus.
Yeah, his was a slight cold. He knew he couldn't breathe properly, and that threw him. So everything else was then going on. So it was just something very small.
Yeah, and so you see this now. You see this, and I don't know if you've heard about the chin paradox. It's a psychology. A guy called Steve Peters, and he was my psychologist leading up to the games and throughout my Olympic process. Now, when you're sick, when you're ill, okay, let me put it in these terms. If you had a family member going into surgery and the surgeon came out and said, I didn't do the best job, I've got a bit of a cold, or, you know, I just wasn't motivated, or I was really, really excited and it just went wrong, would you accept that as an excuse? The answer is no. So when you have a job to do, and this is a hard process to get around, right? When you have a job to do, just do it. Doesn't matter the outcome, you still have a job to do. So if I get injured, yeah, is that in my control? No. Am I still going to go out there and fight? Yes. Okay. Is there a job still to be done? Yes. Okay. How am I going to get the job done? And that's all I'm going to focus on. Not the cold, not the slippy mats, not the referees. I'm going to think, right, how am I going to win? And that's it. And that's something that is you have to kind of train because it's not secondary to us.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I know, like, how that boxer was feeling. I've been in that situation and I've come back into it, like, I just wasn't feeling it. And then and then he comes to me and Steve Peters comes to me and says, Jordan, is that an excuse? Have you won on a bad day? Yes. Have you lost on a good day? Yes. Right.
I don't know. Yeah. Doesn't work. Yeah. Doesn't wash. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah. Oh my gosh, excellent. For now, I have to say for now, Jordan Thomas. So what is your current titles now? Because you do have a title, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm GB Taekwondo. I'm still world child. My world champion is forever now. World title to get world European champion. World game silverlist, European bronze medalist, former Team G member, former Team GB member. In more. Do you know what? I'm just Jordan. Forget about them
Jordan.
titles.
Well,
forget about them titles. I am just Jordan. So like, if anybody wants to like message me or whatever,
they do. They are
then,
blessings upon blessings. So many messages on here. You'll get to see them later. And I know Shelley's put some of them up. And Sharon Hill's put, "You're a blessed young man."
Oh no, bless.
But we know that. We know that. And we thank you so much for coming on and just a little bit. We're going to get you back. You're going to be like, Jesus Christ! I was only on that show once, and they won't leave me alone.
You're not giving a warning, Dee. There's a warning that people should have that once Dee gets you, you're stuck.
That's it.
Yeah. You don't get to go nowhere.
Literally, game slam dunk.
Nah, don't worry, man. I've enjoyed it, man, and actually, well done to you as well, and well done to you both. Just having this. It's just something to come down and have a little real talk. Do you know what I mean? So it's been, you guys are inspirational, and I've taken something from it myself. So thank you.
Excellent. And what I'll do, I'm going to make sure that I connect you and Ronald.
Okay.
Ronald needs to. Before you go off the screen, young man, this young lady who is our final guest for tonight, who's waited very patiently, Jacquie. But I saw so many messages that you were messaging. Speak to this young man before he goes, Jacquie.
Yes, Jacquie.
Jordan, you're an inspiration to our children. I love you. I can't get my hands on you. My G.
Love.
My passion is emotional intelligence, teaching our kids the power of the mind. I wanted to hug you, squeeze you, climb into there. You know what? Let me tell you this. Take this away, Jordan. Take this to your children. Tell them there is one thing in the world that every man was delivered from the day he was born. God gave it to us, and nobody can take it away. And it's the power to control and direct our own mind.
Where are you from, Jacquie?
Wolverhampton.
Do you know that's where the charity is? Inspire You?
No
Do you know something? I did some voluntary work for them on the park.
With Leslie Fairclough, yeah?
Oh my God! I know, Leslie. They did them the 6 weeks. See
that? That's how things work.
Jordan, I took my grandkids to join Inspire You for the 6 weeks holiday. Guess what?
Yeah.
I end up inspiring them. I was on the football. I had them kids going crazy. I was saying energy. There was all like 6 weeks. They want us to play for them.
Yeah.
So I went every day for wherever they went. Because she said, Jacquie, you're crazy. I said, they need energy. Believe me.
See, I love connect,
Can't
Jacquie,
wait to
man.
contact you.
Yeah. Look, small world. Look, do you see what you're doing, Dee?
That's what it's all about, and that's what we do. That is what
my sister's on here. She's from London, but I'm here.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, awesome. Jordan, I'll be in touch, and so will everybody else.
Connects. I'm here.
All right. Blessings, darling. Blessings. Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye. Jacquie, you have so patiently, my dear, patiently waited, and I don't know, you've been on since 7 o'clock so far.
I sit all the way through. Dee, it's lovely. I like being last because I get to enjoy and get in with everybody saying. So yeah.
How's the show been?
Amazing. Ronald, wow. Do you know, Ronald doesn't realize he's a true leader. He's a true influencer. And you know what? He inspired me. But when I looked at, because I've worked in the prisons and people, you have a role star. You just don't know your job. You got one. You see?
He most definitely has. And you'll be seeing more of him. He's in the book and all the rest that goes with that. So, Jacquie Burgwin-Turner. That's what it says on my screen.
Yes, that's all me.
It's a bit of time. So, to the thousands, you know, we've got so many people out there watching, and I know you've been on a few shows as in an observer, but a guest. So really, I need to peel it back for all of those that are out there. If you don't mind, let's peel it back. Where were you born? That's how far back we're going. That's how far back.
Right. Born in Wolverhampton, inspired by Wolverhampton. Life is exciting because it's always been challenging. So, born in Wolverhampton, lived with my mum and dad. I tell my story really riches to rags. Is that what I tell me? I had my brother and my sister. We had an amazing life, sort of, you know what I mean? And by the time I was 6, I called it, my life was hijacked overnight. Everything changed. So at 6 years old, as my mum used to take us to school regularly, she took us to school, me, my brother and my sister. But this day was different. This day was different in a lot of things, Dee, because it makes me laugh as I lean forward. It was the first day that I got to be, remember the register monitor, and you walk around, you're important. I always wanted to be the register monitor. I got to be the register monitor. It was the first day I got to be tuck shop monitor. I always wanted to sell in shop because I've always been a business girl. And it was a day to be remembered because that was the day, as I said, my mom never came back for us. We were still waiting at the school gates. I was 6. My brother was 7. I think my sister was near 9. But that, you see, that was the kickstart of the first slap in life. And I always remember it well because I was so excited to tell her these wonderful things that had happened. And we were rushed down. My sister took us home to tell the story. But when we got there, we thought we was moving house, an empty house. So that's where my challenges in life start. And my mum came back. I didn't see her again for 4 years. But in that time, my dad had tried to take us to her, leave us there, and she wouldn't have us. And I remember us all crying and running behind the car, you know, as 3 little children as you are. So by the time she came back in 4 years, it was, no, man, you're not having them. You know, our black people stay ready. So that was our challenge. But in this challenge of journey, I have to skip it through. I got blessed with the most wickedest stepmom, I always said. Wicked. It was like she was nice for a few weeks and our whole life changed. I used to call myself Cinderella, but my sister was the real Cinderella because she was the victim and Cinderella. Do you get what I mean? I was like the cleaner, the do this, do that, do this. But all these things in life is the first things where you start to doubt yourself, where you start to lose yourself. And because Mum's favourite thing was I was the ugly duckling. She used to call me the ugly duckling because I was a dark one like my dad with the bad head, as I used to remember them call it the bad head. I used to have the bad head and the dark one. So she used to always call me the ugly duckling. So my self-esteem and confidence was never good. But in the turnaround to that is, I had a dad that always said, I love you. Do you know what I mean? You can do anything. So in the dip, in the dive, you have a lift. And this is how life goes on, like a wave. But that passion took me through life. So by the time you say 7, by the time I got to 11, even though I'm dyslexic and didn't know it then, I won a scholarship at Girls' Eye or Girls' School. Well, I never got that place because I had this massive wicked stepmother that kept things behind and said, we can't afford it, you can't, this is only free for years. So she was always a blockage, but people do what they do for their own reasons. But I still went to a comprehensive school. I still got on in life. I joined my brothers and sisters, which is what I needed because we are tight, you know what I mean? We only had each other. So when you took one of us, we like was batting now, you know, Batman and Robin, you all jump in. Dad used to say, don't come back when one beats you. I want you all beat up. So that's yeah, so that's how we lived. But as time went on, so she was like a trauma in my life. By the time I got to 11, because I was so bright, she was psychologically and emotionally abusing me. I mean, she used to tell me, you'll never be this, you'll never be that, you'll never be a black secretary was the one. Do you know what I mean? I'll never be a black licensee because I don't have black women as licensees. All the things I dreamed you could never be. When I wanted to be a nurse, it was you'll only be an auxiliary because I don't do a black nurse. You won't be a doctor, you're black. So all that black was is what I called my limited beliefs now. You know, the things that underpin the way I behave, because I was like, they called me Rhino. 1 minute I was Macy's. By the time I was 13, I was Rhino. Can you see the change in personality? That's what life had done to me. When my sister left, as soon as she left school, she escaped and she asked us, she said, do you want me to go? We told her, run, go, run, get out. You're 16. You can, you know what I mean? Get out of it, girl. We'll be all right. So that was my sister gone. Then my brother, when he left, he's the next one. I said to him, run, because he was going to throttle her. He probably would have kept murdering her. He had no tolerance, you know what I mean? So he ran, and that was when life changed for me, because it was only me, Cinderella, you know what I mean? So when I say Cinderella, you'd come in, do the stairs, do the outside toilet, wash the dishes, everything's waiting for you. Go down shop, you know, go a bag washing, you know, when you used the petrol, the paraffin, everything. But you're also, I've got a younger sister that was joined, so she's a mixed sister. So it was look after her 24/7. So you never had a life, just madness. Somebody provoking your head all the time. And my birth sign's Taurus the Bull. And believe you me, when the horns come up when I was young, they used to come up. But this woman, as I can say, was the inspiration of my life, because she made me do things I would never do. And the first thing was she sold my dog. I used to love dogs, and I still do. Everybody knows me. I'll collect every animal, every picnic. Anybody that I got a home, welcome. That's me. So she sold my dog. From there, I had a rabbit called Blue Eyes, and Blue Eyes was the most precious thing, because Blue Eyes, I could tell everything in his big ear. And he used to bump, 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 bump when he heard me come in. This day is the day that changed my life. I came back and this woman had cooked, and she says, you're not going nowhere till you eat. Anyway, my meal that I ate, when I finished, she asked me if I liked the meal. I just want to get out this house because I don't stay here. I'm in and gone, you know, chip and gone. Before you go, she said, go and check your rabbit. Who do you think I'd eaten? Blue Eyes.
Hang on a minute. Are you serious?
Yeah, she cooked my rabbit. That was she said, I thought it was chicken. She said, I says, where's Blue Eyes? She says, what do you think you ate? Hear me, I thought it was chicken. She said, it's in your bloody belly. That's how she said it, because that was her character. So that day, you can imagine the rage in this child. I'm 14 now. I'm already rowdy. I'm already hotted. I'm already angry. Do you know what I mean? I do every sports in the world because I run. I jump, I do long jump, I do high jump, I do 100, 500, 1500. I'm a shot putter. I do javelin. Do you get me? I do everything. I'm netball. I'm goal shooter year of netball. I got to go to the Ireland Globetrotters, badminton mixed doubles. Can you see where all my anger was? All in sports. Everything but tennis, because I got a weak wrist.
Okay, so I've let you kind of chat a bit. We're not stopping yet. I just need to ask, your dad is around. Is your dad just kind of just...
No. My dad is, in them days, a woman's at home. Dad is a mechanic, right, and he works full time as a lorry driver. So they get the money, the woman runs the house. But every time, this is our life. This woman could never put your hands on us. Nobody could, because my dad would chop them off. It was about speaking for me. But I never spoke up because I'd already lost my dad earlier on in my life, because my dad had been incarcerated for 6 months for an argument with my mum. So I've lost my dad in my life. He's all we've got. So we used to sit down and plan whether we're going to tell, whether we're going to not. But in them days, everybody wants to put you in care. So dad won't have free uniforms. Dad won't have free dinners. So we knew that if we talked, what's going to happen to us. So what do? You make do with a bad situation. And of that situation, I made do. So I left home at 15. I walked out that door. But I'll tell you something. I've never, ever gone back from that day, by the way. When I walked out that day, I never went back. Even when my dad begged me, I wouldn't tell him why. Because I was scared he'd go and kill her and I'll have no dad. I've got a little sister there too. Do you know what I mean? So you're protecting. So the joke is to this. That was the life changer. Because I went from there to be homeless. I slept in tunnels. I slept in woods. I slept in doorways. I self-served. I slept in sand pits. I slept in the sandcastle. I slept in the bell tower on the community centre. More like, where didn't I sleep? But all through this is what I say about the power of the mind. All through this, I just kept into sports. So you've got that teacher, that teacher that knows something's happening, but there's always there for you. Mrs. Toll. If anybody knows her, I give her my life because she was the one that kept me from reacting instead of acting. She kept me on the straight and narrow. After school, I'd be there till there was nothing else left to do in sports. Then I'd go, because really I haven't got anywhere to go. So I meet up with people like me. All my friends were abused, lived in bad homes. There was Nabsy, Julie, Linda Bethel, me. We all teamed up. Antoinette. We're all living in step-parents' world. Do you get what I mean? So we become our own. So we all live on the streets together. We all move together. And this is how our years have gone all our life. So, but even through all that, I used to babysit. And this is what I'm saying about people. People say we do things because of situations where we're in. But I remember being hungry a lot. Firstly, the woman would kick you out in the biggest hot sun. Remember the sun you used to have in the summer? She'd kick you out in that with no water. You'd be dying at first if you ain't stuck to the tarmac. So all of this, as I called, it was psychological abuse. There's nothing physical. It's all psychological, but it's the biggest damage. It's the biggest damage. Because what it meant was I treated people in a way that I shouldn't have treated people. I didn't trust anybody. And until I met Jen and Dave, who I babysat for, that one day somebody told them that I didn't really live anywhere because I used to work for them at the slaughterhouse, babysit every day, but never tell them where I'm going. You say, bye, you're supposed to go home. They never sent me home again. That woman kept me all my life. My brother, even my little sister was there every day. She banned my stepmom because she knew her from her house and told her what she thought. My dad come, she told my dad she's fine here. He offered her money. She said, no, keep it. It's fine. She babysits. So I lived there from 16 and I stayed with her. And so what I had was a lot of big women that were like 40 as my mothers, and they were very good role models. You couldn't steal anything and she wouldn't take you back to the shop. Do you know what I mean? She's taking you back and shaming you. You're taking it back. These role models were the people that actually why I'm still here today and never been in a prison because of these people. So life does get better for people. And this is what I'm trying to tell people. I look out there and my message is, I'm so passionate about emotional intelligence because if I'd have known the power of my mind then, I wouldn't have done a lot of things that I did. I was always in control, but I didn't have that power, and none of our children are taught it. That emotional intelligence is the key, not only to their mental and physical well-being, but their happiness. And you think of all them boys that are locked up, our black boys all over, because we pop, because people provoke you all your life. Do you imagine how different their minds and their life would be if they just had this tool that the government have held from children? They know the power of it, so they don't give us the power. Because all these black boys would be jumping over the table and knocking you out. They would be just sitting there saying, that's your fault, not mine. And these are the things that our children need to know today. Your misfortune can definitely be your fortune. Do you see what I mean? There's always a positive in everything that's happened in my whole life. People go, oh, bad life. It was an amazing life, Dick. I went to a different university from everybody in my area Every day I went to a different university and learned something. And that's why I'm the me now. I learned resilience, but I learned how to use it positively. I learned fear, but I learned how to turn fear into motivation. Do you see what I mean? I learned weakness, and I realized weakness is not trying. I was always strong. All the things that were negatives in your life, our people, our children, and that's why I love Jordan. You know, empower the mind, embracing children and showing them that no matter where you start in life, it does not determine where you end. It doesn't. But we go through life and people keep telling us this, so we wear the cap. So my thing to the kids now, I say to him, if I try to feed you mouldy food, would you eat it? No. So why are you eating people's mouldy words? Why? If you can choose not to eat the food, you can choose not to eat the words. And you have to learn them that choice. And that's why we've ended up with this society that's not responsible. They don't take no responsibility because we don't give them. It's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's blame because they're allowed to play tennis. But you know what I mean? If we teach them to accept their wrongs, then they're going to have to commit to changing it. But if they don't accept it, they'll never change it because there's nothing to change. So this journey of life took me that. Through life, I've had a challenging life. So I left school. I carried on working. And while I was running the streets, when all my pocket money, I used to sneak off and lie about my age and go to night school. They used to call it night school. I was going to be a secretary. So I was doing Pitman 2000. You're supposed to be 17. I'm there with my lying self. I was working at the Scale of Bingo behind the bar, about I'm 18, with my lying self. I call it creativity now because it was the tool and the resource to get me where I needed to be. Without teething, you're going to work or do something. So something you got to be creative about, your life or the present. So all of them things have taught me about, well, don't judge a man for what he done. Take yourself back and look at the resources he had, the environment he was in. Where was his mindset at the time? Don't judge him for the crying, because in his eyes, it wasn't a crime. It's our crime because we're the judgmental ones. But if people just was willing to turn themselves around, let's see more in children than we do. A little shadow and we scar them for life. You know what I mean? A little blemish and you're no good no more. And this is how society has treated our children. So I went on. I became a secretary at the General Studies Department. I became a data inputter at the Express and Star. I went on to do voluntary, and all I ever did was look after children, look after people. Anybody that was alone, you wasn't allowed to be alone. If I saw somebody over there, I'm now your friend. If you're bullying her, she's my best friend. And that's how I moved, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, I didn't have to know you. I'm watching and I can see something. So I'm now your pal. Do you know what I mean? And go about my business. Because my dad was a boxer and there's one thing that he taught me to do was fight. And I could box. And that's what I said. We was taught to fight your way out of life. You get me? Now I fight with this. And out of this. And these stay in my pocket. And
can you just
train our children?
Jacquie, can you just, because certain people that I know are online now as we speak, can you just re-say that? So instead of using these,
using these,
yet
we have to learn to use this, and we keep these. My dad used to say, keep your hand in your pocket. But let me give you a joke. I learned to nut. I was a tomboy. I was a king of a nut. I did well. You see the excitement of your past. Your past can give you joy if you're prepared to be honest about it. And there's one thing, I might be talking to thousands of people, but let me tell you something. There ain't nothing that anybody knows me that they could put on here. That I don't keep skeletons in my cupboard because I don't give people anything to kidnap me. There is no shame in my pain, only gain. And that's why I'm talking today, not for me.
Sorry, I know you're going to say, oh my God, I need you, for certain people, I need you to rewind that.
About no pain. But this, I'm saying, everything in my cupboard, There's nothing people can say about. They can say, "Oh no, Jackie, she used to yam bubbly off the street. Oh no, Jackie, she used to shoplift. Oh, I know Jackie, she used to be around." You can tell everything about Jackie because you don't know anything about Jackie. Because any of my shame, I have no shame. I'll tell you, because any of my shame must be pain, and any pain, my pain is my gain. No pain, no gain. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Because we wouldn't appreciate anything. No sadness, no happiness. Do you get what I mean? We wouldn't appreciate it. So my pain is my gain. And my message to people out there is your pain is your gain. Your misfortune is your fortune. But even more, you can be anything you want to be if you say it to me. Me, talk to you. Don't look at people try and tell me about all their things, and about lots of faults about me. But I have to remind them, I'll stop you there, because if you're trying to make me feel sad, I'm going to make you feel bad. I don't take no notice of man. God tells me everything. From a child, that man protected me. From a child, the only I had was faith. Faith took me through everything. And God is everything why I'm here today to be. I live for him. Do you know if I had to wake up and somebody told me there wasn't a God, I don't know what I'd do. What would I do in my life? That doesn't mean I'm perfect. It means my love for God is perfect. My trust in him is perfect. My faith in him is perfect. And I'm still man. Right? So I have faults. That's all I can say. Don't tell me I'm not worthy of God because you think you're the spinning shiny. Because everywhere you go, you'll hear people say, look him, you might go to church like that. I'd go to a disco like that. Why wouldn't I dress up for God? He never say he never want me to dress up and look good for him. I love him, don't I? I make the effort. And people's faults and people's murmur destroy people's faith as we go through life. So that journey, I became the secretary, I became a licensee, I became an auxiliary nurse, I became a mental health nurse. Do you get what I'm saying? I even, as soon as I got my first house on my birthday, my 18th birthday, I got my first house, and I still remember it. We just a fire and boards up there, and I lit that fire. It was mine. My love of my life from 13 that ran away and ran with me, he became my husband, and I have 7 amazing children. Do you get me? Right? Through all your trials and tribulations, I got a blessing every day. From every misfortune, there was a fortune. There really was a fortune cooking it. And that's why I've become a solution finder. I only have positive thoughts. And I tell everybody, I only have positive thoughts. I offend them because I only want positive feelings, because I only want positive circumstances in my positive life. So you start doing that, I'll stop you, and that's what I'll say to you. I mean, shut up. I don't want it filled in. And people say, you're a therapist, you're supposed to hear people's problems. You know what I said? I said to one girl, you're a secretary, but I can't send you everything I want to type. Right, there's a time for everything. You know what I mean? And we have to learn that we can only hold so much. You know, realistically, we can fill up the cup, but if you don't take some out, nothing's coming in. And you keep pouring the bad in, there ain't no good coming in. But then you get people like us. Oh, empty the cup and Donnie will stop to turn it to fill it up, but we're still trying to fill the world. They took the bottom, the enamel off the cup, and they're still scraping it out. You've got friends like that. Everybody has them. But you know what? I have to say, even that, I find the good part in that relationship. Because that tells me she needs something from me. I might not be able to give her, but she needs it. She's in pain. She's looking love. She's looking something. I might not be the one to give it her, and she's clinging to me. But that's our role as sisters and brothers, to direct and guide people in the right pathway. So I've started to say, I'm not 111 and 999, because I played a life of 111 and 999 all my life. As soon as I got my house, I took my friend's 2 children that she didn't want to look after. As soon as I got my house, I'm only 19. I've got my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, his brother, then his sister. By the time I'm 22, I have 1 child of my own and 4 of everybody else's. Do you see what I mean? They'll have schooled through school. But that's me, and I love it. Because God gave me something. In all of that pain, guess what he gave me? Love heals everything. the people that came in my life showed me love, and they healed my pain. It's like a sewing machine stitching it, but first you learn to answer. You unstitch. They stitch me together bit by bit before they machine me and see me. Do you get me? If it wasn't for Jenny and Dave and Jenny, anybody, Noah, Jenny, Dave Goff, without you, I would never be in. I'll never forget them. I'm still in contact with all these people because these are people that to never be forgotten. They picked up anybody's child, and in them days when you was white and picked up a black child, you know how people done you. And you've got to get me. D, I was a black teddy girl. I was a black cow girl. Do you get what I'm saying? I could, yeah, cow dance. I could line dance. Confused. No culture. No grandparents. And you know your grandparents play a big part of your life. So not only was I there, I was lost, lonely, abandoned, confused. I had no sense of belonging, no self-confidence, no self-esteem. But I was able to ride a wave. Woo, 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 woo. Because of the good people that come in my life that push me up. So through life, I've said, I've been fortunate. I've been blessed. And you know, something Jordan said, I wrote on there, we create our own luck. Because everybody wants to keep telling me how lucky I am. Everybody wants to tell me how lucky I am. But I keep telling them, I'm only lucky because I'm grateful for what I never had. You know, if they was grateful for the little things, they'd feel so lucky too. Because the little things create big things in you. You see what I mean? So I go through life with, it's like every day, it's a new slap. I used to call it it's a new slap. When I was fostering kids, they don't want me to foster kids because I'm a white. That's all the stuff. Then when I fostered kids, oh, you can't have them. You spoil them. I spoiled them because the money I got, I spent on the child and they own their own bike, their own shoes, their own radio. So that's spoiling them. And when they give me coats to put there, wherever they've got to go, I'd use their money so they buy the same as mine. But in a society that doesn't want us to love, you're spoiling them. All these things have created this person in me. And it took me on a journey, honestly. And my journey, I've gone into the worst job. So I'm going to tell you, I've told you what I've done. You're going to laugh at me. Forensic social worker, clinical social worker, criminal justice officer, restorative justice officer, Shropshire's Crown Court and juvenile court officer. You see what I mean? Everywhere I go, I was the first therapeutic CAMS teachers to be employed in the first therapeutic school in Wolverhampton. I worked with NACRO because I was dyslexic, and when them kids bounced, I could work with them. I could get them kids to learn in a different way. I was very creative. So I worked with Bernardo's. Do you get me? I worked with victim support. I worked with remand review. Till my relationship took me into domestic violence. When, you see, from all that niceness and another turmoil, when my husband at the time now, grandparents died, which was his mum and dad, Legrui, he broke. In 6 months, he lost the two parents, mum and dad, to him. So in that, I'm still holding on now. I've got 4 children now. I'm holding the road, but I'm always studying. I'm always working. I'm a part-time assistant social worker, part-time licensing. Do you get what I mean? When I was a part-time CAMS worker, I was a part-time clinical social worker. I'm always doing children and adults because I want to be able to combine the two, because we were children before we were adults. And it's very important that you keep that connection in the human body, I should say, because people don't do the mind. They're more feely, but you've got to be a thinker and a feeler. I want people to learn to think and feel, connect to what they think, because you wouldn't do it if you felt it. And I say to people, if you say the word selfishness, me, I want people to try me. It sits in your bottom of your belly like lead. But then I want you to say self-love. You can't go self-love because it's not painful. It's supposed to lift you. Self-love. And I play with words like this. Do you know what I mean? So when I say to people, just think peace and love. Try and say peace and love nasty. Peace and love. You can't do it. It would. Do you see what I mean? Words are very important about children's vocabulary, and we haven't taught them to feel what they think. There's so much we could do with children if the society really wanted to. So I've gone on to my journey anyway, B. You're going to ask me what else I've done. I'm going to make you laugh.
No, the reason I'm smiling because it's just that I just know the connections of like there's like Sharon Hill from Flying Start is on now, and all I mean dealing with the young ones before they even get into primary school.
Yes, and that's where it starts.
Sharon's, but she could listen to you all day, so don't worry, I'll be connecting you.
Yes, know, because it should start in school, shouldn't it? If we started children at 5 years old about emotions, they won't be kicking their granny. They won't be kicking the teacher. The teacher will get to teach and they'll get to learn. Simple. And that's why I devised an emotional. I did a proposal for the schools, emotional intelligence. I want to put in schools, organisations. I want to plaster it everywhere, worldwide. Remember this, any event can happen, and let's use coronavirus, D. One event can happen to the whole world. But guess what? Everybody is going to have a different thought about it.
That's right.
So we all create a different feeling about it. We still got the same event, but then we all put a different meaning on it. So some of us say, free coronavirus, I ain't doing that, and they react. And then some people say, coronavirus, change. Let's see what's happening. And they act. Yeah. But we're still all running on the one event. We need to teach our children that one event doesn't mean we feel what they say we feel. We do what they say we do. They need to trust their own intuition, and we haven't taught them these things. So
as much as you really... Sorry, so as much as, so I'm listening to you, I'm hearing you, I'm like, right, the young ones, but I'm like, as a parent, as a grandparent, as a community member, starting as in with us.
Yes.
Say you can't be, as in like, we have that ability to connect with the younger ones because we're either looking after them, they're my grandchild, they're whatever, as opposed to just waiting, getting in with us also as well is what I'm saying. It's not just the young ones that we have to teach. We have to teach us elders because some of us have got historic ways of certain things.
That's right. And that's the one thing where our children have paid historic ways. A situation happened with my son. I'm going to give you an example of youth children. My son, he was skinny and he didn't grow. One day, at 13, he became 6 foot overnight. This boy, 6 weeks ago, had this amazing report from school. He's so well-mannered. And he's like a mute. You have to kick it to speak. If he has like, what a damn mountain man, we can't talk, but he can't talk, right? So he's got this, all of a sudden, I remember the morning he got up and we had to take him not to school and had to ring them and tell him I've got to buy him trousers because nothing would fit him, even the ones he'd just done this didn't grow. That was his life changing. My boy went to school and that week, they must have said, from that week, B, he was told he was a drug dealer. He was on the bus selling drugs. The boys never caught the bus yet because I drive him to school. But people don't think when they want to set a black child up, right? So from nothing, all of a sudden, I get a phone call to tell me my son's been suspended, but my son's also a lit drug. They've sent him to Aquarius, drug rehab. That's what they're trying to tell me. But I had to they send me a whole log of behavior. This boy's swearing at people, spitting on teacher. This has all happened in 2 weeks. Nobody's ever phoned me, by the way. Nobody's ever spoke to me, by the way. So they're doing all this drama and behaviour, but God bless me. The Sunday's in hospital, you said he'd done that. We were on holiday in Barcelona on that one, and all of a sudden I says, yo, on the what bus? We live, do you know where we live? We can't catch a bus where we live. That bus never gone to town. He'd have to catch 3 to this school. Everybody knows he comes in taxi or with one of his brothers and sisters. That's how the world, but when we talk about our parents, we would have had to say, shut up, put up. So teacher, lie on you, lie on you, lie on you. Short outcome to that anyway. They met the wrong person. I took them on. Headmistress had a heart attack. Behaviour teacher got suspended. Cleaned his record and sent me a letter telling me they couldn't give me a writing. I want a letter in apology, removing every allegation I want it named. I got it. Because I told them I love you on BBC. I even done them a favour and took their drug back and told them I work for forensic. And that's when everybody assumed, because I walk around in a tracksuit, that I ain't nobody special. But I work with criminals. I have to be able to roll. You know what I mean? They made their judgment. So their answer was, why didn't you tell me your occupation? And my answer was, why didn't you tell me you was going to set up my son? These are the things, hereditary parenting, that we've got. We don't give our children the confidence to speak up. We assume that they have to shut up and put up. And it's got to change there. You're right. It's got to change. How we parent our children has got to change. Emotionally connected to them. I can look at my kids and feel him. You see, if I couldn't feel my son after that happened to him, all he could ask the teacher was, why would you lie on me, in his little voice? I replied, shh, politics, I'll talk about it another time. Don't talk. These people ain't showed me the spliff you own yet. Them telling me they lost it. This is how bad it was. Nobody's ever seen it. They've created it, lost it, and it's gone. This is a society we live in. Our black boys, they are being tortured mentally. They're not allowed to be physical. They're being tortured. And when you think about the pure ones like mine that are mixed race, they're even more confused. Because one teacher say you're white, one teacher say you're black. One say you can't do this, one say you can't do that. And let me tell you something, I'm going to butt in on the word white privilege. Don't nobody tell me it don't exist. I've had it. I've had it and never knew it. I've grown up and now I've had it. My husband's Scottish and white. So a lot of things that I didn't realise I was a white privilege. I've learned that in education. There's some places I could go and I was the only black person with my kids. Do you see what I mean? And I'd go, no, black people. Not realising they're not allowed in. Like the club, the social clubs, things where you take your kids. And you realise it when you're an adult. So if we realise now, we think things have changed. No, they haven't. The sneaky, deceitful, manipulative education system, it ain't changed. They're just more crafty about it. And even worse, they've suffocated our children that they don't even know if they can breathe in a classroom. Because he'll be too loud if he yawns. He's out the room. You know what I mean? But you can kick a table. And all these things people don't like talking about. Well, tough. It's true. It's true. This is our life. This is our children's life. Alarming. A race line, somebody contacted me. An old social worker telling me all that he went through. This man's got a law degree, went to be a social worker in the same department as me. It took him 5 years to get his ASYR. You know why? Because he didn't want to make them feel intimidated to tell them he's just finished a law degree at Keele University. But they're telling him he can't even write a social care assessment for 5 years and won't pass him. And only on the last year when I was going to fail him, he said, I'm still writing reports. I'm still working in the court and they've never sent a report back. I'm finding it strange. After 5 years, I can't write a social care assessment. He went through. Right? This is now these things happen. So this is what I'm trying to say. So I went through a thing working with any child, embracing any child's pain. I lived on an estate where the children, from what I said, I went to work at domestic violence. So I ended up working at the Haven. I go there, I end up working there. I'm a trainee social worker. My kids end up living there. We're on the flats upstairs. That's how I became part of the Haven. But when I moved from there, my thinking's different now. Do you see what I mean? That's changed. So I moved to an area where I see disadvantaged kids that I'd never seen before. I never knew that in the 19th century, 20th century, the 20th century, picnics still running around with nappy hanging around their legs, no shoes on street. You used to see that in the black and white movies. That's when I realised you can live on one estate and this can be private, but behind you, it's council. We did that. We got together. I told the people that moaned about the kids, put £2 in my pot and I'll take them off the street. Every Friday I went knocking the doors and collecting the £2 if you want to save your car. That's what I said, giving me £2. But we took them to the park. We couldn't get funding because they said we wasn't qualified enough. So we had to run a play scheme on the street. We took them to Alton Towers on the bus. Do you know what I mean? and I lost the money, and somebody found it and give us free tickets and the money back. Something always happens to me. But all these things, what I'm saying is a community we all can do. I turned the 2 houses. They had 2 houses. They used the community centre. We got a lottery fund, and I turned it into a breakfast club because these kids was on the streets in the rain, and I knew what that felt like. You can't tell a child's hungry around me. I'll break. I'll crumble. It still hurts me today. I don't do hungry kids. I shouldn't be hungry. I'd done a breakfast club for 2 pence. They said we couldn't give it free, so I had to charge 2 pence for beans on toast. We did a play scheme. I charged them 2 pence just so we could get them in all day off the street. But then we started educating maths, English, homework club. Before I know it, I had an old cul-de-sac, even adults in there learning. I went from there to find out the whole street, nobody votes. What do you mean you don't vote? Women, we died for votes. Them don't know what votes is. My next thing, I'm educating people, taking them to vote and telling them about voting. Telling them why they should vote, telling them the women, people died for it, and started dropping certain people. Do you want to vote? I'll take you. Do you want to vote? I'll take you. We can change the world by little changes, because every little change creates a big change.
Come again, sis. Come again. Go on.
We can change the world by little changes, because every little change, if you look like this, creates a big change.
Yeah.
Every little change creates a big change. So everybody can do something. The street, listen.
Say it all the time. Say that again. Everybody. Doesn't matter.
Everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
I had neighbours next door. The old street had headlights. I was going skits up. Listen, I thought I was going to have a breakdown where they put me to live, believe you me. But you know what I did? You think I'm funny? I went to the GP and told him, I foster kids. I need 20 boxes of likely. He thought I was hysterical. I deloused the street. I sat there on the corner, got a friend, and I said, come on. If you want your kids debugged, send them here. But guess what I have to do when I debug the kids? I says, oh, no. Parents come inside. You got to be done. You can't do the kids and you come back there. Educate people with charisma and don't judge them. Don't not sit with them. Do you get what I mean? Change something that they need to change. They don't know any better. And if we all go through life not judging people, but looking at the wound and thinking, can I fix it? Not can I poke it out and make it be more painful and bleed more? Can I fix it? If you can't fix it, keep your hand off it. You see? You can't fix it, keep your hand off it. My dad used to say, if you got nothing good to say, shut up and move.
But to say, yeah.
Don't put your mouth in anything you're not going to improve. And then the other thing I say to myself, okay, I want to tell you that, but am I telling you to make me feel better? Am I telling you because I'm challenging my ego? Or am I telling you because I'm sick of watching it? And nobody's going to tell you how you're wrecking your life. And if somebody doesn't give you this information, you're never going to have the life you deserve. So sometimes I'll say to you, I know you're not going to be happy, but guess what? I'm watching you and you deserve so much, but you can't get it because nobody's prepared to tell you the truth about you. You can't keep doing that. People love you, but your behavior runs people. If you just say that, don't say it nasty. Say it in jest and a drink. Let them go home and think about it. Because every seed that's planted does grow. So when I work with kids that don't want to listen to me, I'll tell them after, I know you'll be listening to me when you go to your bed because I'm going to say it anyway, over and over again. Because when you plant a seed, even if you don't water it, it moistens, it bubbles, it blots, puffs, right? Then a little watering with a fork comes on and it starts to pop up. We can sow a seed anywhere in our children, anywhere in this world, if we bring back something as little as gratitude. Because gratitude develops everybody's attitude. It's all about gratitude. And I tell everybody, gratitude, not gratitude, dirty attitude. You can tell them anywhere. We've all got friends like them. They're marching and they say, oh, I don't care. You take me as I am. I like the way I am. If they like the way they am, they wouldn't be treading on everybody. No, they don't like the way they am. No, they don't like the way they am. But you can keep letting them say that. And sometimes you need to say to them, but you know what? You haven't brought the best out in you yet. On that nugget,
My gosh, I can't believe what a show. Oh my gosh. Jacquie Burgwin-Turner. You know we're linking anyway. We're already linked.
Oh, yes.
I'm talking about in person. I'm talking about in person. You'll be back. There's other stuff we've got going on, the Simply Deez, certainly, because obviously with V as a connection, we'll have you involved. To all of those that are watching, that have listened, you tell me what kind of show have we had tonight. You can't tell me. I don't care who you are. Jacquie, as much as you know, you telling me you ain't learned nothing today?
What? I've learned loads.
This is why, and the connections. David's still there.
Hello, David.
Is there anybody else still there? I don't know. Shelley might put them on. Bring them on. If there's anybody else, Shell, bring them on, yourself included. Johny,
it's just me.
What are you thinking? Have you been on all night? Have you listened all night? You're on mute.
Yes, I have heard all the way through.
Oh my God.
And I was just thinking, my goodness, how do you do this sitting all along? But I have thoroughly enjoyed. I just didn't feel like moving because I know that we get busy in our lives, and it takes a lot to say that, okay, I'm going to take this hour out and listen to this recording now. But while I'm into it in live, I rather sit and listen, and probably I just couldn't have got up. I thought of it a couple of times, but I just thought, no, it's too precious to lose, because I'm not a good reader. I must confess this. I have learned from listening to people, and people are the living books. They are encyclopedias, and there's so much knowledge, and especially when things that when they get reinforced, when you hear people's stories, my goodness, everything has been so inspirational for me. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I enjoyed you. It was amazing. I love it. David, I'm gonna.
I'm gonna thank you so much. I didn't realise you were still here. I'm presuming nobody else is here, Shell. Yeah, okay, that's cool, because obviously it's been long. Jacquie, Johny, obviously to Jordan, obviously to Ronald, who have been amazing guests tonight. I'm speechless. But what I want to do, I don't want everybody to dive off quite yet, because we always give, obviously guests opportunity to talk. But we, as in Simply Deez events, have so much going on. We appreciate everybody's support. Shelley, what have we got to share with the guys before we go? So much. But what key things are we going to share with them tonight? She's like, do you know what we've got going
Hang on. Should I bring the calendar up? Make sure I don't miss anything. I suppose it's the two major events, I suppose, with all the other stuff that we then do, to actually have International Women's Day actually in person. So the last one that we did as an actual event in person was International Women's Day. So the first one back is going to be International Women's Day at Marsh Farm Futures House. I suppose it's our natural home there. Did we say, I forgot what time, we say starting from 1?
It's 12 till 5.
12. I just couldn't remember what time we were starting from. It's a Saturday and it's the 12th of March. I remember all of that bit. It was just the time.
12 till 5. 12 till 5.
Yeah. So we've done the last 2 years of being online. So this is going to be our first one in person. So keep an eye on our pages for the links to how to book tickets, or if you actually want to be involved, both as speakers and actually having a stall at the event as well. We've normally got all that kind of going on at the moment. And then our other little thing, an event that we're doing in April. On the 9th of April, we are doing our book celebration. So we're celebrating the launch of book 2, so Life Out of Lockdown. And because we were in the middle of the pandemic when the first book came out, we're also going to be celebrating because there's quite a lot of the co-authors from book 1 that are in book 2 anyway. So yes, with book 2 and book 1 together, we're doing one big celebration. And there might have been someone here. Yeah, might be someone here that help us do that.
Yeah. Funded by Neighbours. So we are so grateful for that. Obviously, your invite and everything else, Johny, you will be receiving. But guys, in your diaries, massive day, 9th of April, which is a Saturday. We'll be sending out more information. You can purchase tickets and celebrate with us all. Yeah, I'm going to make sure we kind of finish on time today. Please follow us on Facebook. Please also follow us on YouTube now. We've got our YouTube up and running. Good old Shell has done that. There's so much
more
going
videos
on. We've got
of events will be on there soon as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So this Thursday we have got an event, 3rd of Feb, 7 till when we come off. Time to Talk. It's on Facebook. Please, it's free. It's online. It's literally, what is it, Shell? In a brief nutshell.
In a brief nutshell, Time to Talk Day is it's one of these kind of awareness days set up by Mind and Rethink Mental Illness. And it's just a day set aside for people to learn how to start up conversations around mental health, or to give you an excuse to either open up about yourself or to have that conversation with someone that you think might be needing extra help. If you look at the hashtag Time to Talk or Time to Talk Day, or look at your local Mind information, there's a lot of information that's then out there of just these little snippets to help you start a conversation around mental health. What's the best way to do it? Hints and tips, and finding out more about mental illness, because it can affect people in different ways, and where we are sort of in COVID, out of COVID, in COVID, out of COVID. Some people are liking we're out. Some people are not liking that we're now out and they want to stay at home. So there's all these new things that are happening to people as well. So, it's an initiative set up by the 2 charities. So yes, so we're going to do our own little on normal community Zoom, but with a bit of a theme.
And everybody is welcome to that.
So,
9th of April, somebody's asked, where is the event going to be? It is going to be in Luton.
We're not
we
telling
will be confirming
yet.
the venue by the end of the week. And so obviously there's limited spaces, guys. So if you don't get in early, you won't be able to attend. But honestly, it has been absolutely incredible. I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight. I don't think you guys realise the impact that you are having on the masses out there. So Johny, Jacquie, Ronald and Jordan, Shelley and Justa and everybody who's participated today, thank you, honestly. Thank you so much. We are making a difference. We all are making a difference in our own way. So thank you. And for now, good night.
Good night.
See you